One more time. Welcome back to the Unfortunate Son, session 23, Downtime in a Dream. We return as of last time. And you know what? I'm just going to save myself the time. Eider, you know what? Give us a fucking thing for today. I'm tired and not screwing it up.
Yeah, no problem. So last time we left off, we had a large-scale magic circle that we interacted with that seemed to have a lot of similarities with the sort of magic and mana stripping properties of the whatever Jakix Morin did in the town of Knighton. Um, we managed to disrupt it by destroying sequentially each one of these profaned trees that had been inscribed with very intricate runes from the from followers of Oat. It caused a massive concussive explosion that rocketed throughout the forest, as well as setting off, I believe, 5 other explosions as well. Well, we determined that it had been probably based off of an astrological sort of configuration of a grand ritual to help reinforce and uh, increase the potency of the ritual and its overall size and area. After going through, a fairly eventful night, we rested for the evening and were awoken later that evening, or fairly early in the morning, with the arrival of Froten in town. He immediately just written like hell for leather into the tent with Briar. Some fairly loud argument were had, which was overheard by Kez and relayed to Eider. Eider fairly foolhardily rushed in and started trying to accept the mission without fully being advised of it, um, having heard that it had to do with Valfana, the crypt, and that his cousin may be involved in some way. We from there, Briar was a little sketchy. Seemed like she was potentially invested in the bounty for Eider. So we went directly to Froten instead to get the information about the potential issues that we're faced with. We were presented with 2 options. One was to go to the temple or tomb, which Volkthana seemed to be investigating, that likely held one of the items in the same vein as Wolfsbane. The other being to go to the Fiendlands to fight off a cult that had been gaining a lot of traction there. The party resolved to go after Valfana and the sort of more immediate, uh, immediately accessible tomb and the dangers that presented, which required us going back, unfortunately, abandoning uh, the expedition as a whole to rendezvous with Bardris, re-establish our airship, and fly the total weeks, or the 1 week total that it would require for us to get from the town right outside of Vilcomen to King's End. And that's roughly where I think we're starting off.
Yep, I couldn't have said it better myself. I do appreciate that. Listen, it's hard to remember the campaigns between the monsters who are getting themselves wiped out every other session, and Saturday, who basically gets all of the political action in the background. I totally the players, not the DM, getting old. No, in all honesty, yeah. So we rejoined back after you guys had about a week of downtime on the airship with Bardris, having been the one driving the ship all the way with you lot, dropping you off in King's End only the night before. You lot managed to find yourself an inn to stay at, as Bardris got himself set up in a different part or a different portion of the city with where he wanted to park the ship. Having spent the night at the inn called Burspra Snoking Inn. Yes, I will post that in the chat for those wondering how to spell that. Before you ask. And as when you arrived in the city in the night, most of the city was quiet and quite dark. It was hard to get a good glimpse of what the city looked like, besides the many buildings that looked to be cracked and under construction. Not much laughter was heard as you entered the city. Even the taverns, or the tavern of the inn, seemed almost empty as you arrived, only being charged a silver piece for the whole group of you to get rooms together. As the bottom area is set up, or as the first floor floor of the inn is set up as a massive bunk bed, or a bunch of bunk beds, like a barracks. As you lot wake the next morning, having had your time to relax and rest fully, we come to the day of the 12th of the planting, mid-April, in the year still of 65,009. Having spent the night, each of you relaxed, well rested, you join out in the main room of the inn, where a table has been kind of set aside in the section that's not the section of the inn that's not leaking from the roof, as the light rain that's starting to kind of come down pours through the hole in the ceiling, as well as you see a couple other buckets in different parts of the main tavern area that have been collecting rain that have little bits of droplets coming through. The innkeeper is from who you've met, is a small dragonkin. They look to be similar to a battle dragon koboldkin. So about 5 feet tall, or 4 feet tall, and a mix of emerald green scales and swirling obsidian black scales. The inn owner, as you found out, her name is Burstbra. But as you lot gather, food kind of set out already on the table. Burstbra sitting behind a bar, just kind of working away at some paperwork that she's seems to be filling out with a long quill. You lot kind of find yourselves relaxed, a little chillier, but at the very least, well rested.
Good morning! Alright.
Sorry, I was.
If nobody's gonna talk, I'll talk. Alright, good morning, everybody. Rise and shine. Today's a beautiful day. We're gonna get some shopping done. We're gonna get prepared. We're gonna go out and about and do some shit.
Kez's coffee just hit.
I was like, look at him like, I was like, oh no, this is gonna be one of those days.
Dom's just like watching this in the background. I imagine he's just been kind of like fiddling all morning with, or Levinas, do you want to say Eider gave? I assume Eider gave him the items during our journey.
Yeah, I had everything.
Okay,
on
then
hand
he's just been
Mm-hmm.
fiddling with his gauntlets all morning, kind of like adjusting them, getting used to feeling on his hands, and just kind of glances up with like an arched brow, like, really? As just like steps up on the table, just shouting across the inn.
You see Burstbra kind of like looks up for a moment towards you lot, and then goes back to filling out what she was working on.
All right, now that we've got the, there we go.
Speech,
Starting to think stealth isn't going to be our approach with this kind of start to the day.
By no means are we in any position to be stealthing right now. We are in town, a place to buy things, do things.
Ned just kind of looks at you and just picks up his plate and his cup and walks back to the barracks room and closes the door.
Listen, I know we've all had a rough, couple days before that week trip, and I've had a week of silent contemplation of not communicating with any one of you, which I appreciated that time. Thank you very much. And I've decided that life fucking sucks. And you know what? Sometimes you just can't do shit about it, and you just gotta move on. And that's what I'm doing right now, today.
Woo.
All that shit that happened, water under the bridge. We are so back. Right?
I lean over to Eider, like, has he been day drinking again, or is this just the new
I am
thing?
By no means inebriated, Domnander. I am a reborn again. I'm just trying to convey a more positive attitude before I crumble down in a corner.
No, Kezanok, I admire this. I admire your drive. I admire your initiative in pumping us up. I think if you make pitches like this, you will rebuild your church in no time. You just need to keep this attitude, specifically this one.
You have no idea how much that means to me.
And of course, and I like lean over and I like clap him on the shoulder, like, and if you do want a day drink, the first one's on me.
It's probably not for the best. I should have you know.
Oh.
Anyway, all right. What's our first order of business? Woo! Business! Conducting business. I love business.
Bespar just looks up at you lot, and then you see as she starts writing a little note for herself, walks over and puts it down on the table. Specifically, is now a no coffee beans for Kesnanok. And she goes back to her behind her tavern bench and sits down.
You've been banned from beans. Well, obviously we need to try to find out more about this tome and what the fuck we're going to find in there, and devise a plan, stock up the materials for this, and I suppose most importantly, try not to die. Anything else is optional.
I've done most of the prep I need to. We can take some investigative steps. I don't know how much it'll help. Old tombs, undead typically are mutable.
I think
That and
given-
the information we've gotten throughout the entirety of like the last 3 months has not been reliable.
given you and Kez's exploits on the expedition, as well as the money we've acquired, I think a visit to a magic item shop potentially to get things to help ward off undead would be good for those of us who can't magically protect ourselves. And he gestures towards himself, the only one who can't cast magic in the group.
I can't cast
mean-
magic.
I mean, hey,
Well,
who knows if the information isn't there? I mean, we're in the Frost Giant Kingdom now, but who knows? The kobolds probably, I don't know, they might have had more scouts go out than the Frost Giants did.
Look,
So
I'll
there's
say
a
make a token
chance.
effort, but I'm not gonna stake my
Oh,
life
thank-
based
oh,
off the
don't-
information I get.
I'd say don't count on it. That's for sure. But you
Yeah.
know, they might have done a better job at sending out scouts. Who knows?
There's also likely to be a lot more here in regards to a certain nuisance and his followers in these lands, and I plan to personally look for information in that regard. You two aren't required to join me on that, but considering they're actively involved in one of the many groups trying to kill us, it seems a little bit useful.
Well, Dom, I gotta go real estate shopping. So
Dom kind of gives Kez a look at that in the Kobold lands, or
why not? I could imagine that they need people to set up shop. And I currently have a religion that needs a place to set up shop.
just you know that group I was just mentioning that was probably wants us dead. I would be mindful of them setting up a rival organization in that regard. Otherwise,
Irrelevant!
go for it. I don't think it is irrelevant, but I'm not going to
Well,
stop
there-
you.
Hey, you know, Dom Nender, I appreciate the worry, but I gotta get back in action. I gotta start bringing in people to the fold of Ella Ugbo. Otherwise, I'm just not sure how much I can take it anymore. So we're just gonna charge on forward
Right.
and just
I
ignore
understand. You
ignore
are-
everything else.
Your duty calls for you. You must heed its call. I know. I very much understand. Just try
And I'll kill any
not to
followers of
die.
this Ogum guy that you're talking about. Seems like a bad dude.
I was referring to but yes.
Oh
That too.
shit, my bad.
There,
Yeah.
as I said, several groups. There's also, the name I can't say around other people, or I spontaneously bleed from the nose. And he like gestures to the back of his neck. That one too. They're likely set up here as well.
Your nose starts to slightly tingle.
Yo, that's wild.
I
That's
try yelling
crazy.
it out and like make a little strangled choking noise.
Does everyone get it, or just
Just
Dom? I think
just
it's funny
Dom.
if it'd be so funny if it was a group sensation, like a
Whoa,
high five.
that would be, that's corporal punishment. I don't do that. We don't do that. Come on
Corporal
now.
punishment?
Wouldn't it
in
be
our
unfortunate
D&D
if
campaign?
one of you dies, all of you are linked to each other, lifespan?
No.
Guys,
Oh,
Oh shit! You couldn't have given me less killable party members.
I could have given you
Don't worry,
James.
you've just made me a little bit stronger, Eider, so I'm less likely to die. And I'm actually at the level I'm supposed to be, guys. It's
I
great.
mean, hey, if it's based off of potential lifespan, at least if any of you die, I should be fine.
Oh, I should be fine.
Maybe.
I
as
will
well
say,
for a good
just
amount
for
of
your
time.
own notes to Kesnanok, Domnender, and Eider, you know that Bargers did park the ship north of the city, and Sprungus and Frungus stayed on the ship with him, and we're going to meet you lots. They were supposed to be at this inn hours ago, and have yet to show up.
Yeah, shit.
They
you
must
start-
be shopping. Remember, folks, positive mental attitudes.
That
There's a
feels funny,
decent
right?
chance that they found a temple and started beating the shit out of people.
Kesnanok, can I ask a question? Did you recently start a therapy group or something?
No.
Okay.
Just
What
mainlining
Elizabeth's religion
PCP.
has become.
All
It's
right.
just the therapy group now.
Don't worry, Mr. DM. It's just simply a coping mechanism.
All right.
Good old
I
toxic
think the day
positivity.
drinking might be better.
That's, hey, that works. Yeah, no.
We should, before we get too far into planning and buying property, we should probably figure out what's gone on with our allies not showing up.
Yep. I agree. There's a
And if
not
they are
zero
in the
chance
middle
that they're
of...
fighting Holyman.
Yeah, if they're in the middle of that, I'm not saying we don't claim them as our allies. I'm just saying we don't bring it up unless asked. And try to conduct some business before we're roped into jail.
Well, I'm
Everyone in
stone
agreement?
broke. Well, I'm stone broke, so it's you guys if you're looking to buy stuff that's up to.
I don't. You know what? In exchange for helping me with these gauntlets, depending on the price, of course, I would be willing to assist you in any shopping you might need.
I
We
think
have
I'll be
party
fine.
funds also.
I should be fine. I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. And Dom will kind of stand up, push his chair in. I guess should we head towards the ship? I guess just that's the only thing we really have on their
Well,
location.
I think that's a great idea, Domnander. Let's go.
I was out of character, but thank you, Kesnanak, for thinking my idea is a great
I
suggestion.
swear to God, if you are going generic action hero this entire session, I will mute you, Kez.
He's going for an anime hero. Clearly, he's impersonating Deku.
If you want to be the protagonist, Kesnanok, I'll make you the protagonist.
Listen,
Unfortunately, I'm making a fucking
I
shield
had
hero.
that one with Hawken. I don't need to be the
You sure?
I was
any
gonna say,
kind.
you just-
I don't need to
just-
be any kind of antagonist. All right.
You just gave up the party leader role so you didn't have to deal with this?
Yeah,
Well,
right.
hey, listen. Listen. This all started because nobody was talking at the beginning, and I'm going to stick with it.
This is what Kez is gonna do just to annoy his party. That's on him. But no. All right. Yeah. I will mention. As you look about, you do see the quest, a board set up with a bunch of quests that are have looked to have been put up there for quite a while. Most of the piece of paper that have, or piece of papyrus that have been torn off, have not been replaced. Those quests you see look to have aged quite a bit, as if they've been here before the conquest of this town. But as you look about the different quests on there, you do see the icy tombs that you recognize as the one that you had been told about, and do see a price tag to it for where it's set up.
When you say price tag, do you mean like for the quest reward or to try and buy it?
For the quest reward.
Okay, I was like, that's some bold real estate agentry right there. That's-
You may have just spawned an NPC we may run into later, though. I'll get back to you on that.
Very nice dungeon. Lived in, has all of the nice fixings. A lot of human bones. Can do a lot with that.
New cult that sells dungeons as land as real estate for very large world leaders and nation owners. Keep that in mind. I'll write that one down for later. But as you lot kind of look about, still being the only ones in the inn, Ned has retired back into the barracks that you lot have set up along with his goslings. Did you want to take any of the quests with you, or are you going to leave the ones that you see posted up there? Or do you need me to resend the ones that were posted?
I just scrolled up real fast.
Okay.
Mhm.
Just making sure as you guys take a second to take a look at them, I didn't know if the party has had a chance to discuss them in their downtime.
I didn't discuss because I didn't think the party was planning to stay long enough to do quests. But if we're gonna stay and do quests, I'll pitch.
I'm not
The ones I
saying that
thought
you
were
will.
good.
I just figured I'd point them out just in case as you look at them on the board before you guys head out.
Yeah.
Dom takes a good peek.
Maybe cave pest removal. I mean,
That's what I was looking at too.
yeah. It was like the.
There is one called Icy Tomes, which seems a little on the nose, but alas.
Well, that's the one we're going to go do anyway. So.
Oh, that is?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I forgot it had an official name.
Like we can theoretically we can pick up that fucking thing and just go do it. But
Make sure no one else can do it. Take it. It's ours and ours alone.
it seems as I seem to recall the DM just describing, it's a fairly worn poster that no longer seems to be very well. People don't seem to be taking that one up anymore. It didn't look like.
No, the marking of Og Brightwings, like writing on that, it looks to be fresh, as if someone came in here and wrote this after the document or the quest was posted and just wrote it onto it as a little side note to the quest. As you read, it's got the words of Zachris Volpo crossed out for the name for the quest giver, and the unified Kobold kinship has been crossed out as well to replace with the Regan Utham Empire. So yeah, this quest looks like it's been posted. If you'd guess, Eider, on the recent news you've heard, about at least 2 years now.
Holy shit!
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I will also note the reward keeps going up, as you can see. Like, it started at 5,000 gold pieces, got crossed out, it went to 20, and now it went up to 30, and now it's up to 40.
Oh lord.
I
Well,
wish Ned was here because Cloudy's missing would have been perfect for him.
like part of me is tempted to go investigate Strange Fang, not actually try and do the quest, just make contact with the fucking dragon.
Yeah, magic immune dragon does seem a little bit out of our, maybe not out of my pay grade, but I don't think I could kill it alone. So,
Again, goal was not to fight it. I was just using that as a frame of reference of oh, here's the cool thing. But fuck that.
Listen, I just got to put forward that me and Dom here are giants. And let's just say the relationship between giants and dragons aren't usually the best.
that's true. I have personal beef with a dragon, actually.
I'm just gonna turn for a moment, think, and look at both of you. To be fair, Giants' relationship with giants isn't great either. You guys seem to hate everyone, and everyone seems to hate you. It is impressive.
Listen, I have no problem with dragons. One of my best friends used to be a dragon.
Oh my god.
I'm joking.
I extend no arm, just slap him.
You can't reach me anyways.
Yeah, I say slap his calf.
Yeah.
Nice and
Okay,
soft.
listen. I don't have an issue with dragons. I just don't want to run into a dragon that's an issue with giants.
No, that's fair. It's more, again, not actually recommending it. Would be interesting, though, considering magic community being, I just look down. Yeah, anyway.
Well, all right then.
So, I guess want to go kill a bunch of Thrycreen if we can't find Sprungus and Fungus?
We wouldn't help us with our research into the tome, but it could give us some extra money to put towards that. I
Extra money.
suppose
Also, the Pale Eyes Hive being nearby might be some interesting beholder
That's-
runoff.
I was going to say, with what you just made, anything more parts-wise we can get for that would be
Yes.
great for us.
Yes, Eider, I definitely like to point out the part of Thrycreen. It's not exactly Thrycreen.
I was wait a minute.
I'm just gonna, as a DM who's going to give, Eider, who's looked at this point, just made the joke about how every quest you lot have been given has never been accurate. I imagine is going through and rereading a lot of this stuff, thoroughly, and sees the in there and takes a second.
100% don't think it'll be Thrycreen.
So, at the bare minimum, it's bug-like. I got no idea. what a Thrycreen
We don't
like
think
could
they're
even.
those-
Kez and Dom,
giant
give me
ants.
wisdom checks, please.
Well, can I? Well, I was just saying in character. I don't remember the name of them. What's the name of those giant ant creatures Utham wanted us to
Formians?
hunt? Like, yeah.
Oh no! Not Formians. That
A
ant
Formian
that
queen.
Utham. Well, what's the Formian
Yeah.
It
queen
was a
that Utham
Formian
wanted?
queen. He wanted a Formian
Oh,
queen.
okay.
I would say, but they are bug creatures, and Thrycreen are bug-like humanoids. So I'm just saying, is it likely that they would have mixed the two up? Because those things were out of our pay grade back in the day,
Well,
is all I remember.
All I'm saying is, Dom and Keznuk, please give me wisdom checks.
I'm rolling
That's a 7.
this die. That's a nice 9.
I think that's
Haha,
the
beat
worst. That's the worst wisdom roll I ever had.
I'm gonna put this out to both of
Yeah.
you because you did actively walk there. Kez wouldn't remember this, but Dom would. Dom, remember when you were in Greg's Maritime City of Diamond's Death and you went and talked to a warthog druid that told you about Thrycreen-like creatures that were constantly mistaken called Zill?
Those
Things that are very good at grappling and sticking eggs in you while you stand there dying, like chest bursters.
It was the other bugs. Oh, I forgot they were specifically bug-like. Yeah, so Dom sees them looking at this, is kind of like uninterested, wants to get to business, and then like a thought clicks, and he's like, "Wait,
hold up,
Kez, Greg's Maritimes, the quest we were going to do, those creatures, the ones that if they touch you, inject you with their young, which kill you while you're alive and burst out of you, you know, that fun thing. They were described, I believe, as bug-like. Specifically bug-like.
Specifically Thrycreen-like, actually.
Thrycreen-like, yeah. So...
Why would they be all the way out here?
How did a giant magic circle with dead corpse trees appear all the way out here? Because the world fucking hates us. He like makes a gesture at the group. Unfortunate sons. Emphasis on the un.
Well, Dom, I didn't need that kind of attitude. That was very rude. I didn't need that.
No, it wasn't intended to be rude. It was just intended to be matter of fact. Anyway, we could still do the quest, but I think it would be in our interest to prepare. I don't know, especially some of us who have clothes, but maybe not armor. Armor is not my thing.
Hey, if you put some spikes on it, you know, the grapple, maybe they will be able to grapple onto you. Good old armor spikes.
I think I linked you a fucking spell that like does like 66 damage to things that grapple you.
You know,
Not a magic caster.
Well, I mean, I can cast on other people.
Kez opens his spell book real quick.
By
his holy book.
Let me take a look at what Lev has sent me in the pages of.
As Kez pulls out his holy book with like notes written into it from his old master, like reading through it.
Scat logs.
He's like, man, this guy's got like old, like true medical writing. I can't read half of this, and like trying to translate it as he's talking.
It's all scribbles.
Well, Kez takes a seat at the bar real quick, or at a chair real quick while you look over the quest and look through his spell book. As you look over this, the quest, Burspra kind of speaks up from her seat and kind of looks over at you a lot and goes, "Hey, if you're looking for metal, I recommend you hit up Sariel or the House of Virtue. Stay away from the Scald's smithy."
Oh, how come that smithy specifically?
Scald specializes in fiendish items for Ogg's Blackguard. Most of his items have a tendency to corrupt those who aren't strong of mind, as she taps the top of her skull.
I
But
appreciate the warning.
Scald is a sweet guy. Just a little bit battle-centric. Scrawny, too. You wouldn't expect a gentleman of that size to be able to wrestle an adult dragon to the ground like he could, but it's quite entertaining to watch it when he did it in town.
Sounds like a formidable guy. He only specializes in fiendish items, you said. He wouldn't have anything non-fiend for sale then?
No,
Is there a smithy
you're
that
looking for the
does?
House of Virtue, or at that point, Sariel's singing smithy.
Noted. As I'm like, I don't know if we got a map. We didn't get a map of
You did
this
not.
city, did we?
Also, I will note, as you look out the windows now that the sun has somewhat come up, and though it's still raining and it's still definitely cloudy, you do get sprinkles of sunlight, and you can still now see clearly outside. The town is in ruins. Not ruinous to the point where there's nothing operable, but you can definitely tell this city is seeing more construction than anything else right now, as the sounds of hammers can be heard even in the distance. This town went through some sort of rough battle recently. Buildings are cracked down to their foundations. Many have holes in them. You'd be lucky if you could find a glass window that was untouched in this entire city. And there are chunks of the town that are still completely off limits that have full military occupation to them. Including, as you look out the window and see down the main street, towards what looks to be the large manor at the center of the entire town, the castle and a massive graveyard that seems to almost look like it's the size of the town itself, kind of off to the side of the castle. Even now, even from this distance, you can see it. There are lots of people around, moving around those areas.
Can I? Also, as a side...
Eider, yes, they did mention it, and you can, for knowledge nature, if you're trying, and let me know what you're exactly trying to learn. Oh, okay, I see what you're trying to do. Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Can I roll like a recall info or something similar to if we were told they had a weakness? 'Cause I'm pretty sure we were told they were scared of fire or something.
With
similar,
your 9, I give it to player knowledge on that one. You, for your the common sense, so if you believe that it was fire that they were weak against, and that's what you have in your notes, you can kind of use that as your own knowledge. Otherwise,
to check my notes. What session was that?
A while ago. That was right before the siege.
Notes?
Yeah. Eider, what'd you get for your knowledge nature?
23.
23. Let me do a double check of something to confirm your answer. These creatures, so they are native outsiders, is what you'd know from the book, from the books you read when you were back at your learning at home as a young snowbeard to a smaller noble house. You would know that there is a classification of what is considered an outsider that are native to this plane, meaning they can't be tossed to another plane easily. But they are creatures that we don't know exactly where they come from and how they evolved to what they are. So that's the kind of misnomer, but they are considered outsiders by that explanation.
Actually, come to think of it, with the kind of like being in like the primordial age that we are, isn't it like more the common norm for things to be native outsiders than extraplanar?
For the monsters you're going to run into, yes. However, there are a couple of examples. Like, for example, many of the apex monsters that are aberrations, such as the Pale Eye, are believed to come from some completely alternate reality, as they don't make any biological sense from what little has been studied about them. In this era, they don't know even how beholders manage to float, let alone what they're made out of. Besides those few that have been torn up and cut up for the air materials. So yeah, as far as it goes, there's an understanding there is other existences, but yeah, most often than not, you're going to run into creatures that are from this plane, that are outsiders.
Gotcha. All right, I lied when I said the stone broke. I didn't realize that I actually had like a fair bit left over. I just had like $7,000 to do shit with.
Wow.
So turning to our wonderful tour guidess, whose name escapes me for right this second, and I apologize.
Oh no, you're good. Dragon names are going to be unique, anyways. It's Bers, Bers, and then Pra.
Burst Pra. I turn to Burst Pra and say, "Is there anybody that specializes in more magical armaments?" I take a stab at like the quest board and says, "I have an idea of something I'd like to grab to be potentially a little more prepared, but can't just make it out of thin air, at least not with the timetable that we're hopefully going into."
She nods and goes, you won't find a smith in town that's not magical. Most Heliovoli tend to have some sort of magical capability. Hard thing is to find weapons that are good for killing dragons, though, if that's what you're looking for. Dragon blood's toxic to most locals, so If you're looking for materials like that, not likely to find much.
Looking for something that's against extraplanar.
House of Virtue's probably your better bet. They're the kinder group. Plus, they're big on divine items. From my understanding, one of the brothers who founded the smithy managed to even make an item for some champion of a god a while back. So I guess I'd start there for your best bet for dealing with outsiders. And if you don't get anything, then Sariel's Singing Smithy, where all her stuff's arcane.
Just kind of nod and like gesture to Kez and says, "It might be a good place for both of us, admittedly. I imagine a little bit of smithy lore about god champion items might come in handy."
I would like.
Kez looks up from his book as he's continuing to flip through the pages.
I found it. I found the spell, but it is only a thing I can cast on myself, unfortunately.
But he pulls it out and reads the fine notes of it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, it engulfs me in fire. So hey, that's nice. At least them grappling me wouldn't be an issue.
Want to also mention
I imagine Kez's little demonstration
they
drawn on
grapple
there.
people to paralyze them. So unless we have a way to prevent paralysis, if one of them manages to land a hit, will be out of commission. Which means if we're not outright killed, we will be, become a brood grounds for these things' eggs. And as far as I'm aware, they're not removable. At least they don't sound removable. So just if we're going to take this quest, we need to be sufficiently
Kez
prepared.
pulls out his scalpel and tweezers.
Would I know anything based on my knowledge that I just did about what their egg laying?
Yeah.
Most things
they are. Yeah, so in that case, from your check, you would know that these creatures do lay their eggs actively in live prey, and specifically prefer to keep their prey paralyzed, and then they usually bring them or drag them back into their hives. And basically, similar to Alien, they don't put you into like a biological mesh on the wall, but they do push you into an area where it's easy for their warriors to, in a sense, watch you to make sure you don't suddenly lose the paralysis and escape. And then they keep you there fed until you eventually pop. And it's not just one Zill that pops out per. From what you would know is they can range from 1 to up to 12. It kind of depends on the host and how capable the host was, nutrients-wise.
Gotcha. I kind of putts over to Kaznanak real fast, and I was like, "Would you mind?" And rifle through his prayer book real fast to turn him to a specific page.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just going to point out that this is something you have access to.
I will note for Kez's own notes, remove poison, I believe, specifically states it does remove eggs of creatures from inside the bodies of other creatures. So, because that's
remove disease.
Oh, is it remove? That's the spell. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. Remove disease. Remove disease.
Okay.
So, something to keep in mind for your
yes, remove paralysis, Ader. Thank you for pointing that out. I don't know how you know so much about my holy book. Have you been going through it?
You see little notes, you see little tabs that Ider's kind of put in there now as you realize.
Yes, let me do this for you. I like Ider.
I just turn to Kez, shake and say, "Look, I have learned a lot about magic. All right, I had a very crazy uncle. To be fair, you really shouldn't be that surprised. I managed to figure out an epic level spell ritual on the fly. You trust me."
You as you mentioned something about a crazy uncle, you see the Burstbro's eyes kind of pick up a little bit and goes, "Are you one of the Frosthammers?"
Yes.
Yeah, good going, Ader.
Don't worry, I don't care about your bounty. I'm not interested if that's what you're worried about. Apologies, I fled during one of the rises of one of the Dragon Lords recently. Your uncle, do you have an uncle with horns that was imprisoned? Because I happened to, see him before I got out of the pits.
Oh, yes. Don't make eye contact with him, by the way.
Your uncle was a kind man. I hope you know that. I want you to know you're welcome here free of stay. You need anything, you come ask. And Berserker kind of like nods to you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad that he gave you a good turn. Honestly, what he taught me has lasted me a lifetime so far. I like gesture to Dom and like whisper up to her is like, the number one thing he made sure to tell me is kill the casters first.
Dom nods wisely.
Talking about.
As Kaz kind of leans in between the two of you to listen.
I heard something about casters.
Oh, you kill the casters first.
Oh,
You
I
kill
mean,
them
isn't
first.
that obvious?
It is the cornerstone of all
surprised.
dwarven warfare.
Heard. I'm gonna back away now.
It's alright. I was whispering pretty loudly. Like Dom's pretty tall. Like it was mostly.
I wouldn't know. I never hunched down and lock eyes with no.
Oh, no.
God damn it. Burstbro also looks over and goes, if you're looking for poisons while you're in town, feel free to stop by. I've got a few things that might be of help to your adventures. Got nothing for whatever them bug creatures are. Everything I've sent with adventures hasn't managed to work, but as far as any of the other quests, if you need something, you come ask.
Just flash her a very toothy smile and a thumbs up and say, I believe Dom shares that interest at the very least. If you want, Dom, feel free to. I mean, Kez and I can go. You can stay if you want to do like a little poison lore. You can come shopping with us, whichever you prefer. I know that bringing you to like a magic weapon shop is kind of like asking Ned to come with me to a butchery. So
Dom looks at you, not offended per se, but with a look that you see his eyebrow twitch in a way that's doesn't normally. I don't need to understand the ins and outs of magic to understand the basics of magic items, and I can assure you I won't have a mental breakdown upon seeing magic items as he gestures with his hands with his magic gauntlets to the amulet he has that's magic.
I
And
didn't
kind
even
of
know
just
the
looks-
breakdown, just the lack of interest.
It's not a lack of interest. I just, at least as of now, haven't spontaneously developed arcane talents. I do have an interest in magic items, actually. I just don't have the skill for it now. I've had to deal with other things, like not dying in a desert.
Well, would you like to be more acquainted with magic of the divine nature? Wink, wink.
Kez, I'm so glad you decided to ask me rather than assume what I want. Yeah, I would like to go with you to the magic item place that I mentioned going
Excellent.
to earlier.
But I did ask if you
specifically
wanted to come
mentioned-
with us.
Burstproc kind of looks at you and goes, if you're looking to awaken your magic, you can probably try Delphin's Market. If you can get an audience with her, she can probably help you with that, if that's your interest.
I'll consider it. I mean, I don't think I'm totally incapable of developing magic, just most of the avenues haven't interested me, like tying myself to a god or forming a pact for my soul with something doesn't exactly draw my interest.
Well, if you ever want to, maybe swear fealty to a god, I know a pretty cool one.
Kez, I respect you. I don't think your goddess would welcome me for very obvious reasons.
No, listen. Listen, if you ever want to give it a shot, I'm here.
They're just kind of
Thank
usher
you.
everybody out. It's like we've talked all we want.
Yeah. We should probably also look for Sprungus and Frungus still.
As you head out onto the main road, seeing the destroyed buildings all around, the towers that are being rebuilt, the brick that is being laid, construction being heard pretty much everywhere around you as the sounds of shouting can be heard. Kobolds and Aasimar alike walk the streets in varying forms and shapes. As you look about, you do actually, as you step out, see Sprungus and Frungus already standing there, looking as if they've been waiting for around a few moments beside the door. Barger's nowhere to be seen, of course.
By the way, do the ASMR, do any of them give off the divine energy of a loud bow, or is that not how ASMR work?
It is and it isn't. Some do take their individuality or appearance after gods that made them. Some take their appearance after gods that influenced their birth or that their family has sworn fealty to. Some just take a view of powerful individuals. For example, Og looking like Ogarin, the former king of the Storm Giants, who was not a god as he was killed on the first day. So... yeah, big bad that died day one. Very sad to see. But yeah,
Did someone fuck up a build?
no, someone called someone a word that they shouldn't have and got their character smacked down because they thought they had more power behind they did.
Yeah, someone said something they shouldn't have and insulted almost all the world leaders and then died.
But yeah, so
got assassinated real quick.
as you look about, give me a search check, Kez, to see if you can catch the attention of anyone that looks similar to Ella Ugbo.
All right. Let's see here. Search. What's my modifier? Yes, 0, of course. That'll be a...
How? You're a wisdom character. How do you have a +0?
Because search isn't wisdom.
Is it
It's
not?
an intelligence.
Oh,
Yes,
oh, that's right. Spots.
Oh,
yeah.
Thoughts.
That's why I struggled when
I always forget that. I apologize, my dear Kez. That does kind of suck. As you look about, you see multiple Aasimar that look more demon-like and fiendish in appearance here. Than those that look to be of any godly depiction you've seen. However, there is a large amount that you do notice of the younger Aasimar, those that look to be almost the same height as Eider, running about, that seem to take after a dark-scaled kobold or dragonkin-like a depiction of a creature. Not black, but more like a dark brown coloration to their scales, and many of them depicted as having little statues on their back as they run about. But as the Helio Voli go about, you don't see any that look similar to Ella Ugbo. But as you three step out, you do see Frungus and Sprungus kind of just standing there watching people as they walk by, eyeing them up, and seemingly not really paying attention much to you lot as you come out.
Give them
What's
a
up,
party wave.
kiddos?
Hey!
Found them. That's first step completed.
Hey! So we going to kill shit?
At least of some variety.
Incredible. What are we fighting? We should leave. Like now.
Did something
Sprungus nods
happen?
very fast. At that.
Yeah, this place fucking sucks, dude. Let's go.
It was
Well, I
Dom
believe
that's
we
the
were-
tallest, right?
Amongst this
Yeah,
group,
Dom.
yes, because Ned's not there. Yeah.
I'd like to lean into Dom because they're the only one I probably could properly wish to without leaning over very obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And Sprungus will just go multiple demigods, town, bad.
Yeah, Dom frowns at that news because that's not great news, and I guess we'll kind of look at the others. Perhaps we should make our business trip quick and then figure out what quest we're pursuing. You two wouldn't happen to know anything about Zill, orange bug-like creatures, lay eggs at people. Not good business.
Heard of them. Never killed one.
I think
Can't be
Sprungus
that
just
hard to kill.
Can
Sprungus
eggs
looks
be
himself.
laid in you? Yeah, I look at
It's made of lava.
That is fair. I wonder if they can survive in old Sprungo.
I wouldn't ordinarily ask that question about my brother if I were you.
If I did remember a little
Listen,
tidbit, is that
We're very well acquainted.
Oh God.
I mean,
You should know I have no issue asking that about my brother.
What were you saying as well, Kez?
even if we met these Zill head on, aren't they normally ambush predators? They'll just pop out from under the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, if
So,
we did
yeah.
have, so I would assume that they would avoid the person they couldn't grab.
Depends where Zill live. Could come out of cave. Could come out of floor.
I think the quest specifically mentions a cave system near a pale eye hive mind. Well, one of
Yep.
our plans originally was to go out and blow up the landscape with blasting diamonds, but Zilpip took the one we had, and I have no clue where he is. So I could look for something to make maybe a poisonous gas, but I don't have that much experience with
Poison?
explosives. I could identify a blasting diamond if presented to me, but I don't know where we'd find one of those around here.
Sprungus think have poison. Hold on.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm double checking my inventory right now too. I don't think I'll have anything that'll work
Uh,
on them
I
out
will
of
say,
character.
Sprungus pulls out vial after vial after vial.
Yep.
Do I recognize any of them as poisons?
Yes,
DM?
they are all the same poison. In fact, and even without a roll, this is a very common used poison on the market, and probably the most common you'll find, and it is called drought poison.
You want this?
Oh yeah, I have some of that.
Oh, Sprungo, you're a silly little guy.
This will render them unconscious if it works, but given it's a common poison, it's not very potent. There's a high chance it won't work on them. That's the experience I've had in the past with it. And he kind of holds up like a vial of his own to show.
Okay, so options. We gotta go. We either go kill a bunch of Zill.
Fungus, I will put out. The only thing that I will say is notable for you, I know, because given your character is very lacking in knowledge of what city life is like, but given simple common.
I'm actually,
huh?
like, even though I was just born, I have insane bardic knowledge.
Then I would put this
ability.
as a.
So, like, yeah.
I'd put this as a simple point. If there were threats of the level of magic that you sensed walking around, they were actually a threat to the city. A city just walking around doing construction with kids running around does not seem like a place under siege from creatures of that power. Just kind of putting that out there.
I feel like it's more a concern
not
because of what we are.
No,
I'm
I
not
get that.
saying the city's under siege. I'm saying we shouldn't be around them because if they pick up on us,
Yeah, that's
shit
fair.
might go down. But yeah, fair enough.
I was just making sure that wasn't the reason. My apologies.
Yeah.
Should we be looking at other quests? Don't we have a very time-sensitive one that we need to worry about?
Yeah, the tomb one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go do that.
Well, we were trying to gather more information on the tomb's location and the presence of potential traps and creatures
Okay, so
within
who are
it.
you going to ask?
No
Well, I
idea.
was hoping to see if there was a library or something like a college in town.
Royce, can I make a bardic knowledge check?
Sure. What are you trying to figure out?
Are there any
I want to
songs?
learn anything I can about this tomb.
Okay.
Okay.
Any songs sung?
I'm going to use a point of inspiration to give
Dude.
me a little boost.
Do realize, though,
Yep.
you're dealing with the fact that you are not a well-traveled individual as of yet. So your knowledge, even if you roll amazingly, DC is still not necessarily gonna be easy. So
Well, DC.
just putting it out there.
Yeah. No, there is a DC.
I know. Yeah, I know how bardic knowledge works. No, trust me, I'm very familiar. I got that abused against me when we had an elf who managed to convince a meteor to turn around.
What?
It was a level 20 level 30 campaign at the time, I think. A long story. I'll tell it after campaign.
32.
32. As you think for a moment, any songs you've heard, any tales you've read, anything of any note that's come up along your travels, there is a few stories. Most people are that hand them down in small villages that more commonly were amongst giants overall. That there used to be a people at one point that ruled this world, supposedly even before the dragons rose. And some say that these creatures that ruled had been very big on preserving themselves after death. Somewhat of a belief that they would like any peasant could manage to keep their body well preserved, one day they'd rise again and attack when that time came and be given their full power and all the blessings of their god, basically, when they rose. This didn't just apply to the nobility. Yeah, exactly. It's not just the nobility, but it was even to the common man. This was common practice, supposedly, as the stories would go, or how they stated. Most giant nations believe that these societies dominated the two continents at the points of the planet, being the northern and southern continents, due to their size, and believe that at one point those were the massive nations. Therefore, as you kind of think about the idea and recall that, your guesstimation is that this tomb is probably some sort of fiend, some sort of powerful fiendish being, as from what you've been able to gather so far. And most likely, where if it's going to be somewhere, it's probably outside of this town. As you take a second and look about and notice the large graveyard and recall the fact that Oat kind of used to run this town. If a tomb was found while Oat ran it, it would be probably unlikely for him to have not left it unexplored.
Cool. I will relay that to the party.
As he gives you a full history lesson.
Yep.
A supposedly debunked history, though, again, as the stuff you've seen recently with Eider's axe, and then, of course, everything that's been going on, it comes to question.
We also have to take account our foe who will be in there. I'm not sure what we could do against her if she's even humanoid. We do know how to get in. I recall the piece of info about the statue to choose, but any ideas on how to counter someone of her level, or are we just going to hope we can kill her before she kills us?
I can't help but think she may be an aberration.
She, based off of her aura, she's not undead. We ruled that out because thing didn't proc. She's either a very high-level cleric, she's either a moderately high-level cleric or potentially an outsider, based off of my knowledge of how evil auras work.
Or she can hide her undeath.
Can't be that strong. Refused to come near me at all. Seemed scared.
Hey, there's always that. Also, me and Sprungo are pretty effective at killing a single enemy.
This enemy. Although I do think having you guys gives us a better edge than when we last fought with her, but she has the ability to create illusions, manipulate people's minds. We might end up in a situation like we just were with Sprungus, or you, Sprungus, going on a killing spree and murdering the rest of us.
Oh, I don't generally kill.
I just kind of look at him. Right.
I don't think I've ever seen him kill.
Dirty, nasty business I leave to old Sprungo.
To be fair,
the point is unless we can shield our minds, she might be able to charm or otherwise manipulate us into actions. 'Tis the thing with bards.
Well, I think I want to go to that divine magic shop. Nonetheless, I think we're burning daylight.
Oh my god, yes! If we're shopping, shop. Then let's leave.
Right.
We gotta do something.
Yep, we're just picking up a couple weapons, hopefully, if they have them.
Incredible. It's like in another world outside of ours, it's been over an hour. God.
To be fair, in a world outside of ours, we did start late.
Oh my god.
Yeah, let's head to the Dom's ready to go. Let's go to the magic item shop.
Ring ring.
And then we
Yo, really did that right as I stepped away. You fucking. Alright, Frungus, you take 10. Frungus, you take 10 points of damage for that. Fuck you.
Hey, fuck you.
No. I literally post. I'm like, yeah, I'll be right back. 1 sec. I have to answer my phone because I got a call back from
Oh,
my
I
bank
thought
for
you
something
did.
important. And then I hear Fergus go, "Hey, let's move." I'm like, "Are you fucking serious?"
Wow.
10 points of damage.
Yeah.
I heal myself.
Yeah. Fuck you. All right.
Yeah, fuck you.
You stubbed your toe on the way to the magic item shop.
Yeah. Yeah, you can have a stub tail the rest of the session. Enjoy it. You're gonna be walking funny for the rest of the session, which isn't weird for Fungus at this point.
Oh my god.
Oh no, he's got a club
That
foot.
fucking sucks.
Oh my god.
Oh, but yeah, all right. So, sorry,
I'm gonna have to amputate it.
you're heading to the House of Virtue, the one of the
Yeah.
smithies. Okay. All right. As you guys head into town, following down the main crossroad of north to south as the main road, the city is, while it's rather long, it isn't as wide as you realize. Interjecting on only about 3 roads in total, and then basically coming together on a central hill in the center of town that has what looks to be almost a completely destroyed castle where a large fat dragon was torn out of, as it looks like, almost as if someone tried to drag them out of the castle from deep below. After a manner that looks to be well taken care of and set up, kind of stands and looks to be freshly built. As Dom kind of looks about looking for a library. Dom, that's about as you kind of watch, that looks to be the only place in town that you kind of catch that could have a library around. It seems to be open. But as you continue walking through the main street, you do eventually come across a simple 3-story house that looks almost like an actual house. Large pillars out front that kind of help an overhang, creating an open porch where you see 2 young-looking Heliovoli, who both seem to have very short, stubbled black beards, looking identical to each other, except for one having red eyes while the other has green. Both of them looking to be similar to almost like an elven in feature, however having very clear fiendish tattoos and markings all across their body. Even when they, for the little bits of skin, you can see little black marks that almost look like tribal markings for a moment. Both of them seem to be wearing very thick cloaks, thick leathers that look to cover most of their body, as they seem to be kind of resting, enjoying a drink each, holding some sort of glass of a colored liquid. You can hear inside the house behind them, as the windows that used to be there have long been taken out, the sounds of hammering coming from inside and the smell of smoke coming out of the building as you walk up. One of the brothers, or who you assume to be one of the brothers, kind of looks over at you lot and smiles as he does and goes, "My name's Haraham of House Virtue. How can I help you lot?"
Hello. Do you have any Bane weapons?
I mean, only the Bane that goes against the House of Brightwing.
So nothing for outsiders or undead, unfortunately.
Oh, I didn't say that. I just said that we only try to service to those who serve in the good word of Brightwing.
Ah.
You're recent converts, I take it.
Can I do a quick religion real fast? What the fuck is Brightwing?
Yeah, give me
Wasn't Brightwing the
That's the
thing that
bleeding
Ned hooked up?
Figure.
21.
21. That's the name of the guy who owns the city.
Oh yeah.
The big Asmar who
Yeah,
just swore
Brightwing.
fealty to Regan Utham,
Yeah.
Oh shit.
For your own knowledge, also with that role to give you as a bonus, Brightwing, while it's a house, by dwarven or by Snowbeard standards, house would not be a proper term. It's a last name given to someone who has importance in the amongst the Heliovoli. You'd know. Calling them houses amongst this group would be like saying a single dog it's a pack. Just because it managed to kill a gorilla, it doesn't make it a pack. It's still a dog. So in that kind of idea there, they take last names more as a representation of power, not as in necessarily to be their own family name. So it would be uncommon necessarily for them to, someone to be like of Brightwing. However, that being said, there are houses amongst the Heliovoli. They're just typically actual full family units.
I just kind of think for a moment, nod and say, yes, we're here to fulfill many of the, to rectify some of the issues that have been plaguing the city, hopefully.
He nods and gives a big bright smile to that as he looks at you and goes, "Perfect! Welcome into the shop." As he sets his drink down, his brother continues sitting there just watching you as he stands up and walks over to open the doors, his eyes kind of glowing, and as you notice, their eyes seem to flip in color. Now the other's eyes being red and the one standing's being green as he opens up the door, kind of ushering you lot in.
Yeah, I'll go.
Alright. As you follow in, you watch as the outer house that looked to be pretty narrow on the outside, as far as it didn't go very deep, or sorry, not narrow, shallow, opens up and expands out into what looks to be a massive smithy, like the size, almost the size of a small castle. As you see and can count numerous Heliovoli working away tirelessly, feeding coals into large forges, hammering at different metals. The sounds of singing kind of lightly heard as the Heliovoli go about their work. Haraham looks at you and smiles and goes, "I don't have anything on stock, of course. Everything's made to order, but we can have one out within half a day at maximum."
All right. I turn to the rest of the party. Do y'all have like half a day's worth of like waiting around to do? I mean, it's a good 2 weeks travel. Yeah.
Yeah, I can wait.
How, out of character, how much time were we given after our week trip before Valthanda likely would, like, break in?
So
I know it wasn't that long.
That's the thing. So what you would have gathered from Bardris during the time is that there's been entire armies that have tried to take this tomb a few times, and none have managed to successfully get through it due to traps, sometimes dangerous monsters, sometimes just dead ends. And at this point, there have been multiple adventure groups that have gone through and been gotten lost. No one's been able to crack the tomb yet. So while Bardris kind of points out that you are on a time limit, it's not as harsh as you're thinking. It comes down to the individual's capabilities. So he cautions you to consider whatever you think your enemy would be capable of if they are alone, as the assumption would be, since the pack of smiles you saw got wiped out for the most part.
There's quite a lot I could do in a day or two's time, both prepping for the missions and personal research. I would prefer we don't wait longer than that, but I also don't think we should rush into something.
I assume Ned's doing his own thing right now. He's not with us.
Yeah, I told you he's back. The last time you saw him, he was in his room, relaxing.
Ader, I know you're a bit more attuned. Well, not attuned, but very knowledgeable magics. Are druids able to detect traps?
No.
Do we have any surefire way or a decent way to detect traps?
No.
Other than a good spot check or search check.
I think we need to find something to help us find traps.
We might need to consider hiring someone who's a bit more adept at the skullduggery.
You mean like the mercenary company that's been following us?
Yeah, where are our friends, by the way?
They are
Small Hand.
The Small Hand is assumably back on the ship.
We should have a chat with them after this. They were coming with us. I briefly forgot. They did agree to storm the tomb with us. They might also help us with the Zill issue.
I'm talking to the Smiths here. Have you ever made any items for Ella Ugbo followers in the past?
He nods and goes, "Yes, we had a whole battalion of the church come through, and we blessed up a bunch of weapons for them." Guy takes a second and thinks and goes, "I believe at the time we were still back over on the continent, but maybe 4,000 swords and shields, all with her sigil on it. There was some crusade they were prepping for. More recently, I think, last year, we had a group come through. Some succubus gal. I think she was the champion, but I'm not 100% sure. So he kind of like walks through the smithy into the back areas where his shop. He's got a shop actually set up. And he goes, I think we made a circlet for her. You'd have to ask my brother. I think he was running the shop that day, but I believe we made some sort of circlet for her. That was some sort of thing to let her divine focus her God into it. I don't know. Something along those lines. We get God requests all the time. We had this small cat fella come in about rolling them tiny rakshasa. I think they're called Deep Yang. Requested a weird item a while back. We're still working on trying to find someone who can cast that much magic into it. It's a high-end request, but hey, 2 million gold pieces for it? Shoot, I couldn't say no.
It's almost like something you need almost a loan of $1 million to even consider even starting.
Yeah, we thought so too. I thought it was gonna be some crump or something like that, as they're notable for screwing you over, but no, it turns out this fella's name was Dahlia? Something like that? Darlia? I don't know. Some weird name that I didn't make any sense. Them Rakshas have strange names. But sweet customer. Paid quite well.
Well, do you think I can talk to your brother about the items that he made for the succubus?
I mean, he kind of turns and stops, and you see him kind of whistle real quick, and as the other twin kind of stands up, looks in, kind of comes walking over. He immediately, as he walks over, you see his eyes change back to red while the others change to green. And he looks at you and goes, "Yes, I'm Hamhara. Don't ask."
I wasn't going to. I've decided to, focus on my goals. Yeah. So what does that circlet do that you made for that succubus? Is there anything more than just a divine focus?
He nods and he goes, "Yeah, we, I think El-Ugbo's blood is in it. There's a tiny bit of it. There's some anti-divine thing. The only issue is he had so much magic, we had to copy something she gave us. Where is it?" And he kind of looks about some papers on a desk nearby and kind of comes back and shows you this like dark black orb as he holds it up and goes, "She handed us something this. I drew a diagram to it. It changed to whatever weapon it could turn into. First, she told us it was going to a guy over in the Rakshasa lands. Some church fella had a weird god named Calthun or something like that. Anyways, this orb could turn into anything. That was the idea, right? We didn't understand it, couldn't figure out much to it, but she said that she wanted something on its power. So what I did is I took what she gave us, which was a sample of her blood, a piece of one of her first champions, and some sample from... I don't know what it was. It was a chunk of black rock, and that's what we made it into. From my understanding, the magic's so powerful, the item fell asleep. Not sure how. I didn't put no soul in it. I don't know how to put no souls in it. But it started snoring as soon as we pulled it out of the furnace, and it was glowing hot. And it glued itself onto the succubus chick first thing we saw. She couldn't take it off after. She damn near burned her forehead.
Is there any kind of failsafe implemented into this circlet? Like if somebody wore it that is not supposed to, it would crush their head?
I mean, in theory, yeah, it should. It's blessed by the god, so in theory, if the god doesn't believe, or you don't believe in that god, she has the ability to influence the crown. I mean, it was supposed to be some sort of gift, though. The idea was the crown of a god, not a champion, but she was going to be a ruler. She was supposed to be setting up a nation, from what she said. I believe it was, shoot. He looks over at his brother for a second, kind of like this thing, and you can see him shaking his head and goes, something about his highness, I don't know. She kept talking to this weird fella she was going to go kill and take over the territory and found a nation in her god's name. I didn't think El-Ugbo was all about that personally, but, yeah. As far as I understand, she should be able to, though, shrink the circlet. She should be able to theoretically increase it in size. Hell, in theory, that thing can transform into fucking armor for all I know.
Did you also make her armor and weapon, or not, or like a bag of holding?
Of course, I made everything she wore. I mean, all the god champions come through us for the best items. Well, except for that god-agreed fella. He seems to be able to make his own crap, but I'm not going to deal with that.
Was there anything special about their plate, weapon, or bag of holding?
Oh yeah, she had some +3. We managed to get to a +3 plate as far as what the equation of price would be. These things were masterworks. I mean, shoot, they had arcane powers on them that I didn't even understand, or rather, divine powers on them I didn't understand. We were told to inscribe these strange runes on them. We weren't allowed to replicate them or copy the design down. And we had to swear a whole oath on our bloodline to basically not tell what the design was. I mean, normal standard thing you do. Bag of holding, yeah, we made her something unique. Managed to get our newest version up. It was a prototype though, so I don't know if it managed to serve her well. It was supposed to be able to hold a lot more in it, as well as a few other special features. But I mean, I don't want to reveal too much about the customers that I've had. Is there something going on? Are you here to pick up some like new sets for her, or are you like her squire?
She's dead.
Someone killed a god's champion. Oh, you're cute. Yeah. It would take someone like Regan Utham or Brightwing himself killing someone like that.
I definitely produced the circulet just as proof.
He kind of looks at you and goes, "May I?"
Sure. I try to return it to where she put it on, and well, I guess from what you told me, she didn't believe anymore.
Kind of turns it around and looks at it and goes, "Well, I didn't make this."
What?
I mean, it's identical. Don't get me wrong. Kind of points to the bottom and goes, "There's no Smith mark. No mark at all, in fact." As he looks over, like only creatures, unless it's someone named Smith that made, but I doubt it, given the arcane energy coming off this damn thing. Also, if this item's to Ella Ugbo, shoot, I'm Granny Apple. Because while it looks identical, this thing's got some fine power coming off of that. It's very fiendish. And I'm not talking good kind of fiendish. I'm talking this thing feels like it's got potency to it. Where'd you say you found this?
I found this on the skeleton of what I was told was the bones of Ella Ugbo's champion.
He kind of looks at you and goes, "Did you try and reach out to your goddess and figure out if the champion was actually dead? I feel like that's something, clerics typically are capable of doing, unless your god has given up on you."
God, I sure hope not. That'd be quite distressing.
Same here, because I can see her standing right behind you, so, that'd be kind of freaky that she was just standing there watching over you for nothing.
Yeah, that would be quite odd. Anyways, I produced, the Warhammer, the plate, and the bag of holding. Are these at least the things that you made?
Looks at it and goes, No, again, there's no Smith mark on it. Wait a minute. No, this one does. The plate does. This has Yaki Roxer's young mark. Oh, I ain't touching that. You should get rid of that as soon as you can. That is curse plate. That is more cursed than anything I'd ever touch. It's not powerful by any means, but I don't know if you're familiar with the Dragon Lord Yaki Roxer, but in his younger days, he wasn't exactly the greatest smith when it came to humor.
So the plate has Yaki's symbol on it, but the hammer and the bag of holding aren't marked.
Correct. And looks at them and goes, the armor looks to be Yaki's, I'd guesstimate. Probably someone rehashed the metal. I mean, it's a powerful cursed item. I mean, in theory, you could just rewrite the cursed runes on it to a different curse. As you watch his other brother kind of walk over to Eider and hand him, take the axe from him and start working into some magic scrolls onto it. And he kind of goes, I'd say these are pretty good replicas. You'd have to have someone at least capable, same as me and my brother. I don't know many that are on the same capability as a adventuring guild leader that would want to craft items in this day. I mean, maybe the Toth, but they've been wiped out. I'd say whoever managed this is quite capable as a smith, and they've got to have a name for themselves. He looks over at his brother and goes for a second and goes, well, as you're about to say something, and goes, but isn't that... And Hamhara looks at you and goes, actually, I think about it. There was one person. Gal named Folkvi, fire giantess, set up in Dragon's Crown. evil lady. Like I'm talking like literally, she spews evil. But she's got an inn set up out there. She does special orders. She's about the only person I think that could copy our own design. But I mean, she's not this capable. I mean, this takes some magic that would be almost on the level of a god's champion to make this.
Thank you for answering my questions. I'm definitely glad I didn't put any of this on.
He nods and goes, "Oh, I can tell you right now, just looking at it, the Circlet would have corrupted you and turned you against all Ugbo's followers, immediately making you go into a mad rage anytime you see one to kill them. The armor, if I can get, I think it's one of the lighter curses. If I had to guess, it's one of them things. It sticks to you no matter what. You get resurrected or revived, it doesn't matter. You're coming back basically with this armor on. You'll be naked as a blue jay everywhere else, but that armor that will stick to you." Also,
that's why she was so skimpily clad.
Yeah, and then bag of holding's got something to do with it. Looks like it's designed for organic materials to be killed as soon as it goes in. Bastards are cruel. Whoever thought of that? Hammer doesn't have anything particularly. It just seems to be something for anti-fiends. I assume fiendish, some sort of bane enchantment from what I can tell. There seems to be something else to it, but I can't really tell what this, as he points to a couple runes on it, what this means. Haven't seen him before.
Do you mind if I just sense motive to see if he's telling me the truth?
Go ahead. Couldn't hurt.
Dom, your presence is needed.
Dirty 20.
Dom's standing there listening.
Needed.
Dirty 20? He seems to, from what you can tell, he seems to be telling you the truth from his own understanding of the situation.
Do you genuinely want me to roll? Because Dom has been listening.
I mean, listen, I'm just doing my thing. If you want to do your own thing, by all means. If you go ahead.
Sure, why not?
Listen, I'm not here to. I'm not here to take your thunder as the sense motive
You
person.
better not be. This
Listen.
This is the only thing I'm good at.
Listen,
17.
I won't step on your turf.
I didn't roll that great.
What'd you get?
17.
Yeah, from what you can tell, he seems to, everything about his body language says that from what he understands, he is telling you the truth.
I give Kez like a subtle nod, like, this guy's legit.
Thanks, Dom. I guessed. Thank you. Well, thank you for the information. What do you recommend I do with this then, since it's obviously not of my deity?
You got anything like locate object or locate person in your capabilities?
Let's move on to the other people while I go check on random spell lists.
He looks at you and goes, "Trust me, as far as it goes, my only recommendation, while I recommend something like locate object, it's one of your lower end spells for the clerics that you see out there. But if you're looking for someone who made this item, such as like locating a creature, I mean, wow, there's certain spells that could easily probably mess with it. This might be a useful thing to go and locate the person who made it. At the very least, tracking down the smith who fucked with it to give you more answers. That'd be my idea if you're looking into this."
Unfortunately, I'm not powerful enough as a caster to cast that type of spell yet.
Oh, well, if that's the case, I mean, you of course visit with our Lord and Savior of the House of Brightwing, and he might be able to help you with that. But if not him, Sariel is a one of those divine casters. So is Delphin, but I will warn, Delphin rarely is found in anywhere. Her market district, well off. She doesn't seem to care much for it, other than to enjoy the wealth that she gets from it. So, while I think Sariel does work in her shop still.
I might have to go look at Zariel. And you just make armaments here, right?
Armaments, arms, anything you really could use. We all do it in the name of the Brightwings. As you see, Haraham, the other brother, kind of hand the axe over to Eider, still glowing red hot, but the rune now carved into it.
Do you sell holy water, or is that something that another shop would sell?
I can sell you holy water. It's just we won't have it to your god. We can give you water that's been got silver in it that you can go ahead and do your whole ritual to.
Yeah, actually, that would.
How many? How many leaders you need? We collect the stuff as much as we can. It's only good aligned, so I hope that your god's fine with that.
Oh yeah, good aligned is perfectly fine. How much do you like? What do you charge per liter?
I mean, given you're here to help the House of Brightwing, I would say 100 gold pieces for a leader. I'm fully open to discussion on that. It's just silver's a little harder until the trade route gets up to get a lot of it.
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for sure.
Are you doing math to figure out how many vials per liter you can get?
Yeah, because liters versus ounces, because I think it's 8 ounces per bottle. 'Cause it's an 8-ounce cup.
Yep. So
Yeah, go move on from
as you take a second and think about how much you want.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, take a moment. All right.
He's spelling his name wrong.
Yeah. A high five and offer hit to help him finish any project he might have with incredible casting powers. Harham, just as you kind of mentioned this to him, he just kind of looks at you and shakes his head and goes, "We can't take those who aren't divine to join us in our endeavors. Unfortunately, arcane magics don't work in these forges."
Oh, good news. Magic is an arcane.
He looks at you and goes, "You aren't gifted by a god. I'd be able to see the god that backed you, just like I can see the large furnace behind the large forge behind those two." As he motions over to Sprungus and Frungus.
Like, pause for a minute, think, and like, is it worth the kindness? Yeah, fuck it, why not? It's like, indulge me. If I'm lying, then obviously it won't work. If not, then you'll see something interesting.
Give me a diplomacy check.
Mm.
He looks at you and kind of nods and goes, he kind of points to one of the other Heliovoli working, snaps his fingers a few times, and you see as the younger one kind of stands up, looks over, picks up what a blade he's working on, and walks over, and as Haraham takes it, he looks at you and goes, this scimitar has a very basic enchantment on it of defending. It's an apprentice level enchantment. I expect everyone to be capable of doing this. If you can manage to prove yourself here, feel free and show me your capabilities.
I nod, knowing that the jig is kind of up and that this is total bullshit. So I just kind of step forward, put my hand and just start shoving the spell levels into it.
As you do, the rune begins to glow, and you see him kind of look at it and look at you as it begins to glow. As you stop and kind of hand it back, the runes continue, and he looks at you and goes, "That's not how we..." Interesting. You say you can do this just at will? Is this something, an ability of yours, or something you've gained from drinking something cursed, or particularly, or irritating a god by chance?
Trade seeker. I flash him a grin.
Kind of looks at as he turns the blade over and over again and goes, "Interesting. I've never seen magic used in this way." It kind of waves the sword up a little bit and hands it to the apprentice to go quench and goes, "Appreciate that. That'll give me something to study it tonight."
No problem. It might be back, so if you're amenable to further, put it frankly, I wish to advance my own abilities, and you have a large-scale crafting workshop. I'd be willing to trade knowledge and goods of services of sorts, exchange for information.
He nods and goes, "I see why not, but I hope you understand our clients' secrets are kept to themselves. We are paid for that."
If you can keep my secret, then I can keep theirs.
"I see no reason why we can't do business," as he holds out a hand.
I shake it without any reservation.
Mm-hmm. As you shake, Hamhar looks over now at Kez and goes, "You are asking for the leaders?"
2 liters.
2 leaders? He kind of claps his hands, and a couple of young apprentices walk into another room and then come back shortly after with a 2-liter barrel and kind of hands it over to you and goes, If you ever need any more, feel free to come by. We get shipments of around 4,000 liters per day, and that's supposed to increase now that Regan Utham is building the road and sending his silver this way.
That sounds great. And if I ever find myself being a champion to my deity, I'll be sure to come out and get kitted out.
Oh, don't worry, your god will tell you to, regardless.
No, heard.
He kind of gives a smile, though, understanding the thought behind it.
Yeah, okay. Oh, that'd be nice. Come on.
Yeah. Listen, these guys know what they do. They know what they're about.
Listen, they know what they're about. I respect it.
But as he is, he kind of shakes your hand with that. He takes your gold and kind of as they walk you to the front door, Harham kind of speaks up and goes, "If you are stopping into Sariel's or any of the other areas, be forewarned. Most of the craftsmen around here are quite capable. If you can sense divinity of any sort, you might get a little bit of a strange presence. Understand, that isn't our magic individually." As he kind of lets... you suddenly feel a magical aura around him expand to almost an overwhelming level of power. As he just stands in front of you and almost just blazingly lets us out. And then as he slowly recedes it once more, he goes... These lands seem to gift us with much more magic than we originally understood, so many of us come off quite stronger.
Have people who didn't have magic before manifest magic coming here? Or just those who are already capable?
Delphin said to be able to magically manifest people's arcane and divine abilities. However, I don't know how much of it's accurate, as I don't ever see it. She keeps the rituals within her own home, and those who come out don't speak to it. I assume out of a pact of some sort. As far as what I've seen, those who have come out have been able to cast, but just as often those who do go in do not come out. My assumption is that this gift that she gives has a physical cost to it that would, similar to what we use for dragon's blood to go into a rage in battle. I believe that those of the less arcanely gifted find themselves pushed to an insane amount of pain.
No doubt. I was just curious because of the incident not too far in which an entire town lost their magic, if perhaps this was connected to that or some sort of side effect.
If that's the case, I'd be shocked because Regan Utham has to sign off on every shop that gets set up here, knows about every business owner, and knows about their capabilities. A requirement after apparently something happened in Nighton, like you mentioned, as apparently some passers or some traveling mercenaries that were in the employ of the city, or the town rather, decided to steal its magic and attack the town. Regan Utham does not allow for those of us to own a business anymore to have cultish interests, if you will, as he kind of smiles at that.
Seems wise. Is this, by the way, is this news from the Black Hand that we left?
Well, I mean, you haven't seen any influence of the Black Hand so far. And the Small Hand, as far as what Frungus and Sprungus last saw them, were still on the ship back in at the northern end of the city.
By the way, question for you. You guys wouldn't happen to sell or know of anyone in the area who sells weapons catered more to my style, monks, and less the martial types? I've yet to find a place that has such weapons. They don't seem especially common.
That's because of the fact that Og does not allow any others of us to class into the capabilities of monk. Many of us have requested to study at his feet as a Grand Master, and he refuses to teach anyone his ways. We did have a giant storm bear travel through here at one point, and just a couple of days ago, in fact, but while he offered to take a few converts, he refused to share his capabilities with the rest of those who were planning to stay. Something about the dangers of putting powerful people in places where they don't need to be. But beyond that, no, not to my knowledge. I don't think any shops offer something along those lines. It's quite uncommon. There's not many those who are so capable amongst these territories. Even amongst Regan Utham's, in fact, as he kind of thinks for a second.
Yes, not many who share my fighting style specifically. I kind of like look over at the others and go, I don't think I'll be purchasing any weapons from here. So when you all have conducted business, I think I spotted a library or something similar not too far. I'd like to get onto research when I'm able, or picking up word of mouth on the streets.
With all this construction going on, I actually might check out to see if there's any real estate open for perhaps a church. Might as well, if they're going to be building something, might as well jump on it while I can.
It's funny you asked that. As a note, as you look about town, there are tons of buildings that are completely empty. So this town,
Yeah.
while it has a decent population, does not seem to be filled out in the slightest. However, you did not see any place that seemed to show any sign for inquiring about buying property. From what you know, based on basics of fire giant culture, it'd be most common to speak to the lord or the owner of the territory to start with. So making a meeting maybe at the up at the castle.
If I remember correctly from at least last session, Og is not available right now, right?
That's what you were generally told by Bardris. However, you have the manor and the castle have lights and have a lot of people walking in and out of them, so it's a chance that he might be there, or someone of equal importance.
Hey, we've got a day to kill. I'm gonna go check out real estate, guys. See ya.
All right. As Frungus sighs in the background heavily, seeing the party splitting for their shopping, I imagine.
Hang out with Frungus and Frungus.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, Kez and Dom are actually going to the same place for reference. So,
I was say Dom also was planning for people to come with, especially Eider, because Eider you tend to have good checks when it comes to research.
All right, I'll come be the one.
As all three of you are basically heading up towards the castle and the manor built off to the side of it, I assume as a group you just turn and kind of start heading in the same area.
All right, guys, we're splitting up. Immediately turn in the same direction.
I feel Sprungus and Frungus just staring at you in the background, just with utter shock at the joke of you guys splitting up and then walking the same direction.
All right, gang, let's split up.
But as you head towards the main castle itself in the center of town, passing by more and more ruinous buildings, you do notice as you finally get within about half a mile of the castle, buildings are gone. It seems to completely fall out to just nothing but a massive graveyard that every entrance has been barred off and seems to have multiple security. What you realize as physical soldiers who look quite seasoned by both their armor and weapons that they're carrying. Giving a real clear sign that you should not be going into the graveyard and no one's been given permission to walk into there right now. But as it extends all around you, kind of covering the streets, as you walk down the main, focusing down the main street, you get up towards the castle finally. And as you approach it on this hill, a slight incline, the rain still coming down lightly as it sprinkles, the light wind chill coming from the north and from the sea, the smell of salt still in the air. You see the castle, the front of the castle looks to be almost completely broken down. The walls only being about 10 feet high and collapsed in on themselves. The castle, so to speak, as you realize, is just a long hall made of stone and with what looks to be a large boat on the back end of it, having been collapsed in and looks almost to have been burnt quite well. Guards, again, quite almost coming in patrols of 5 to 6, walking around it as no one seems to be going in. You do see out, though, off to the left, a little bit off to the side, where a large, what used to be a garden set up, a manor looks to have been built, and people like couriers similarly dressed commonly, and some seemingly dressed almost to nobility, seem to be running in and out of. The building itself, you can tell, clearly looks to be of a new design because it does not fit any of the architecture around the town. But looks to be about 2-story wide, almost designed similarly to the White House. Thank you, Og, for that specification if you're watching. And as you look at it, it looks to be quite a little bit larger than it should be for one individual. But as you kind of look over towards that direction, you got the manor house, or you can try your luck going through the castle gates and trying to convince the guards from what you can tell.
I'm gonna try the manor.
Yeah. Well, whatever area looked like it housed the potential library, but I'm leaning more towards the manor myself.
Yes. The graveyard
Oh.
immediately looks as it's the same one as you remember being the main location where everyone gather into and then head beneath, finding some of the graves. They would head into the chambers and the underground tunnels that would eventually lead to his Oates
Okay.
chambers, where
There wasn't
Mhm.
any like library there or any collection of like books or knowledge there, was there?
The very few books that you would have ever seen down in those areas would have been held by the individual cultists, not most often not held by not in a library or on shelves or anything.
Cool.
So at best you might find a fallen holy book, but at this point, with how thorough it looks like this city's being gone through, you'd guess that Og's people probably found everything stashed down there if they found the place.
If is indeed the question.
Yep.
Cool.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Sprungus. As you begin working on that. Yeah, as you head over, turning off to the left and heading through the gardens, you watch as couriers of both Koboldkin and Asimar of different shapes and sizes come running past you. Some carrying what looks to be scrolls of papyrus in a hurry. Others that look to be smiling with sacks of coin on their belt that they're looking at and pondering. As they kind of walk past, you see every once in a while a little glimpse inside a very large open desk in a massive open room. People somewhat lining up on the side and seemingly talking to someone that as you get closer, you realize is a almost 20... Was it... Here, give me my exact description here. Make sure I get this right. Oh, thank you, Past Royce, for being an asshole when writing this. Give me a minute. And not putting details like, hey, he looks like this character. Give 1 second. There we go. Standing about 60... what you realize is almost 60 feet tall, although he is standing at almost 30 feet. He is wide. The building is a lot, as you realize as you get closer, seems to not be of the material plane, or seems to be inside bigger than it appears outside, as the ceilings expand up quite high. The desk that you thought was quite small seems to, as you step through the doors into this large open room, seems to expand out and actually become almost up to 25 feet in height. The individual sitting behind the table has a massive snow handlebar mustache with long white locks, wearing what looks to be, as you realize, purple glowing metal armor, as well as large bracers on their hand that seem to give off a faint glow, seeing the arcane runes drawn across them. A massive blade on his back that looks to almost be... The handle looks to be almost half as tall as he is, with the blade being about the same length and having glowing blue runes on it, while the blade looks to be in slight despair and chipped quite a bit. Og looks over at you from his desk and down towards you as you walk in and smiles and goes, "Why, hello there, the chosen of Regan Utham. How may I be of assistance today?"
I think
hello,
Tom's a little
sir.
caught off guard.
Hello, sir. Sorry. I got
Princess Kesnanok, how are you? Oh, wait, so I do apologize. Never mind, that had been rescinded. Never mind, I falsely accuse you of a different rank. Adventurer Kesnanok.
Thank you. I was wondering what process I need to go through to purchase property in your city.
Oh, well, in these territories, I mean, you'll have to swear fealty to Regan Utham, take a pact that states you'll basically never do harm upon him or anyone within his territory, any of his citizens, any of the religious churches that he protects. And he starts, listing off as he pulls out a small scroll and starts reading off of it and goes, "Once you've made all these pacts, then you can buy property as you wish. My only request is that you live within the territory for around a year so that you can maintain to keep it up, especially with construction going on. And then you put someone responsible that pays them. We require a 1% nation tax. 0.5 of that is going to go to Regan Utham, and the rest will go towards maintaining the roads in the city itself. The rest of course, any issues that you need, you can come and make requests of me if you need extensions on your shop or you want to expand.
Are there any different requirements for places like churches? Not the taxes, but like
Oh.
the requirements for putting one up.
Yes, it has to be a church that Regan Utham recognizes and approves of, and you have to still be lower than the god, or you have to accept that your god is lower ranked than his own. I believe was the bare requirements for it. As long as you're willing to accept those two things and not interfere with the Golden Church, I don't see an issue. I don't think Regan Utham would have an issue, although you'll have to meet with him for the church. Businesses are handled through the local lords, but from my understanding, church establishments, because it's a national religion, has to be handled by the Regan himself. He's got 3 years worth of appointments right now. There's a lot of cults on here that are trying to get recognition. And as he's kind of cut off the allowance to go to him Purser's last hold, we've been told to wait till he appears for an audience, which is his next expected visit is within about 2 to 3 months.
Well, there goes me trying to kick up my religion again. Oh well, guess that ain't gonna happen.
What church do you
sorry to bother
represent, young man?
Ella Ugbo.
We already have a church amongst the town for your religion, so I don't think you would have been approving anyways. I apologize.
There is?
Yes, we've had a couple of kobolds that have converted from one of the smaller heretical versions of Oat's religion, I guess. Those who believed in some sort of belief of kindness after death and service to a kinder, draconic god. They converted, apparently, and set themselves up. They've got a small church following. It's not large amongst the different rankings, but it's on the outskirts of town, to the east, I believe.
To the east, huh? Well, well, thank you for the information. I appreciate it. Thank you.
He nods and goes, yes, good luck to you. If you have any requests or if you're looking to instead change up your god, feel free to come by and let me know. I'll make sure you get put on the docket with Regan Utham. I can't promise prioritization, but I can at the very least let him know that you're on it.
I'll keep that in mind. Thank you very much.
He nods and goes, and what about the rest of you? What can I do for you?
We're planning to soon pursue one, if not more, of the quests you've posted. I was hoping if you had perhaps a library or some place of knowledge in which we could conduct research more into the tomb and to these creatures you're dealing with. Going in blind, I don't imagine you'd want to deal with more dead adventurers. Seems like there's been a lot of that from the quest descriptions.
Dead adventuring is a job that is done by those who are capable, and those who fail to do so prove that they were not meant to be adventurers. But as far as the library research requirements, you're welcome to any of my books. I managed to save a good few of the ones from Zacharias's personal library before the stronghold got burned down and over there. You're welcome to peruse any of my materials, especially as one of the sons of Utham. It's not often we get visited by one of his members of his royal court.
Dom kind of, his chest puffs up a little bit at the title, but goes, thank you very much. I also have a request, and I understand if you don't, but if you have any information from searching the graveyard in the surrounding town on the cult of Oat, I'm wanting to look more into them. I have belief in our travels there still lingering in the area, and of course, if you require information in kind, I might be of assistance in this area in particular.
He looks at you and goes, well, Regan did give me clarity that I should help you. Alright. You familiar with a fire giantess named Folkvi?
Domnonder's face immediately darkens, like for the first time a proper, like, scowl, full sneer. Yeah, I know the bitch. You could say that.
He nods and goes, "Well, we found out that she was one of his major priests, and she's unfortunately under the protection of King Movasi for now, or at least Regan Utham Estate. We're not going to move against the capital of Dragon's Crown. Understandable in his wisdom, I can't deny that it would be rash to suddenly attack the capital of a massive nation. But it does not mean that random adventurers can't find this kind of information. Folkvie has set up an inn. She's managed to get a capable spellcaster, a child that was stolen from Knighton. A boy that was said to have been hidden by the druids for Regan Utham specifically. Half elf, half giant from my understanding. Quite gifted in magic. Far more than seemed to be able to resist what happened in Knighton, which was the more interesting part. Problem is, kid vanished. We don't know where he went, so we never got to explain that to the Regan. I thank the gods for that. I didn't want my head on that. Go ahead.
Folkvies was seen traveling with individuals who caused the incident in Knighton. If that is of any help, I believe the Reagan's already aware of that, but I'm not sure how much word of that has spread.
Oh, I can tell you for a fact, I know all about Jakix Morin. Trust me, the Reagan didn't stop telling me about him on the way home from the last world meeting. I've heard every detail about that man you could ask about.
Yeah, apparently he's been setting up magical circles in Utham's land. I don't imagine he's happy about that.
Kind of takes a note of that for a moment, writing that down as you see him kind of put that to paper. And he goes, I'll keep that in mind. Anyways, to your point, your question. If you're looking for a lead, that's the best bet I've got. I haven't been able to locate any of the others. We did find the body of a giant, but it was too hard to tell who it belonged to or what it belonged to, as the body was mangled beyond repair.
Might I be able to inspect the body at some point? Not a rush, of course, but it might be of help in identifying.
I mean, it's decomposed all in all, but if you can figure it out, there's no head remaining. I tried to send Regan a depiction of it, but he said it wasn't one of his people.
If it's, I should be of some help.
He nods and goes, well, it's ironic, as he looks over to Kesnok and goes, the Church of El Agbo is the current ones dealing with it, because they're the ones who've been helping us purify these dead bodies, make sure they don't get back up. You're welcome to go check them out. They've got all the unclaimed bodies are going through them, I assume, right now, so good luck to you. But you're welcome to come and go between my library as you wish. He points to a door behind him, as you see some courier kind of come out with a couple of books and set them down on his desk, and he goes, anything I've got in there, you're welcome to read. There's no locked up information, so if you can find it useful, feel free. I do ask, as he looks down to Eider and goes, small one, please keep your spellfire abilities to yourself while in town. We've had enough construction.
Oh, don't worry. They're not that explosive.
I heard about it from the Regan what you did to his town with the lyrium gems. I would prefer you not do anything like that around this territory.
Oh, trust me. Lesson learned. You only need bitten once.
He nods at that. He goes, as long as that's the case, and you can understand my caution here, you are welcome to enjoy yourselves amongst the town. You are under my protection while you are here. Consider yourself welcome to anything that the guards would know. There's a couple amongst my ranks that may not immediately recognize you, but feel free to let them know that you are serving under Regan Utham's protection while you're in my territory.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll give a bow to him and then leave.
I'll give a very a respectful head inclination. I'm gonna head into the library.
Okay.
I do the dwarven equivalent.
Alright, and who are you heading with? Or are you just standing there looking between the two party members?
I just head with Dom to go be the lore
Book
bitch.
time, nerd time.
Alright, Sprungus
Dom,
and
next time play
Frungus.
a wizard.
Where are you lot going?
I mean, I imagine I'm just sitting somewhere. What I'm doing is going to take a while.
Okay. Wait, when you sent me what you sent me, were you planning on just stopping there and just beginning to work?
Finding somewhere I can sit and not be bothered. Not specifically right there.
Okay. As you look back expecting to find, I assume Frungus would have stayed with Sprungus. He's on mute, so I assume he stepped away, so I'm going to go with DM agreement on that and just assume that's the case. Sprungus, as you guys look back expecting to see the brother standing there, they are nowhere to be seen as Kez looks about for a moment expecting to have a couple of gentlemen joining him and sees no one. But yeah, alright. As Kez, are you going to go on a solo mission?
All I need to do is just get to my god's church. I want to check this place out.
Now, can I just put a thought in your head before you rush off? How go happy is Kez? Do you think he's a cautious individual or a very happy-go-lucky individual?
He is definitely a very cautious individual.
So I'm just gonna point out a dumb thing, right? This place
I'm very dumb right now.
This place is known for its cultists, or there was a rumor of cultists being around it. Mm-hmm. There's a group that suddenly serves a god of death, which would make a really good cover if you were a cultist who was really good at bringing dead people back to life as your undead servants, especially if all the unclaimed bodies are going towards you and no one's thinking about that. Mm-hmm. And you did just find a champion that basically died to cursed items in the same territory. So I'm just going to put those two ideas in your head and ask you, are you sure you want to go alone?
Well, I'll take a hint from a DM who usually says this and just nod, I guess.
I'm not saying you shouldn't. I'm just I'm giving you the fact that you'd be cautious as an individual.
Dom would head there after the library to see the body. So
listen, I just found out recently that whenever I act bold, things work out semi-well for me.
Okay, hey, if you want to go for it, then go for it. I just wanted to make sure I put all the cards on the table for what you'd know, so, as a DM.
I think that in
it's
this
your story.
Specific case, while Kezenuk would normally be cautious, I think there's a bit more excitement about finally meeting someone else of his own religion.
All right. Yeah. No. As you head out, we're gonna start with you first. Then, as you start heading through the town towards the east, kind of following the main road behind the castle and behind the manor, to kind of follow along, looking at all the buildings and checking them out. Give me a search check, or I'll take search or spot. Either way.
Gotta get back to my sheet because I was on my spell book. You said search or spot?
Yep, I'll take either.
Let's go with that sweet spot check. That'll be a 18.
Alright. As you kind of go looking about. You find a building that looks to be like a church. It's got a large bell tower, common amongst churches. It's got a long steeple-like building. It definitely isn't a house. You're 100% sure of that, as it's the only building as you look about that doesn't look like a house or a broken-down market. You kind of look about and kind of accept that this building might be it, as you find a single steeple, as you look, simple in its design, made out of what looks to be cobblestones that are quite rough. A single tower as its entrance with a bell that you see above looks to be made of bronze and have runes designed across it. You assume similar to be something along the lines of the spell alarm. As you look at the front door that's kind of leaning a little bit off its hinges and looks to be more supported by the fact that it's slightly bigger than the actual door itself or door frame itself. It looks to be made of a simple oak but has a lot of charred marks across it as if it's been burnt. As you look along the side of it, it does have a small wood picket fence with a little bit of a vegetable garden going, and looks to have once was probably colored glass windows is now just holes in it. With what, as you look through one of the holes and notice a few pews set out, someone at the front talking and just kind of standing there as he looks down on the group. What you look behind looks to be a symbol of Ella Ugbo, kind of almost completely designed, as you see the white wooden shield, or small shield with the hands grasping in a circular form kind of depicted behind the what you guess to be priest talking.
Yeah, so I guess there's a sermon going on then right now?
As you look about, though, there doesn't seem to be anyone inside other than the priest.
Oh, okay. He's just talking to nothing.
From what you can tell, yeah.
Well, what is what's he saying?
As you hear him go on, he speaks. Give me a listen check, actually. See how much of it you catch.
I'm also supposed to be good at listen checks. So let's see what we got
I
here.
will say, your item is not Ned. Oh yeah, you didn't get Ned's spear. Never mind.
Yeah, I can't tell necromancers, but I can tell undead.
Mm-hmm.
That would be once again another 18.
An 18. As you look in there, give me a minute. I'm just pulling up something real quick for my own notes. Okay. You hear the words. All who die will return to nature, and their spirit be given back to the one true mother, the god and goddess of true power. As he sees you, and he looks over at you and goes, "Oh, my blessed son, please come in, come in. I do apologize. I was practicing a sermon before you showed up."
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I've traveled a long way, and I was very excited to hear that there was a church to Ella Ugbo here. So I wanted to check it out.
As you see this individual, now get a better look at him. Now the lights kind of glimpsed onto him as he kind of steps forward to the door and opens it toward after seeing you in the window. You immediately notice his black kobold-like skin. He looks to be very simple in appearance, just normal black scales. Nothing kind of catches your attention. His robes, at first you thought they were made of like some sort of white wool. Actually, he comes out, look to be made of a white like bark-like material. He seems to carry a staff, or rather a walking stick when he seems to walk forward. A rather gnarled-looking branch that looks to be slightly almost dead in appearance. As he kind of looks at you and smiles and goes, I do apologize. I assume you're a member of the church, but I don't recognize your face. My name is Legrosora. I am a druid who works as a craftsman and as a spreader of word for the great goddess.
I never heard of a druid following my Ella Ugbo, but hey, that's really interesting.
Nature is the kindest of mothers, if you will.
I agree. What, should I just call you by your name, or should I call you by a title? Father, pastor?
Look, Lagrosora is plenty fine if you're not comfortable with the name. Priest works. I once, my younger years, before I was put on this quest to atone for myself, I was once a paladin. You could call me Grand Master, but those days are much long gone, and the great mother does not recognize me anymore for what I was.
Well, are you the only one?
Yes and no. I have converts normally. Our hours are towards the early morning before the sun rises or late at night. Typically when those who are looking for meals and are at their most hungry would arrive. But at this hour, I assume so. Other than you and our mother goddess, as he kind of like ushers you in to show you the church. Very simple stonework, stone floors. The very simple wood pews that look to have cushions on them to actually be comfortable to sit in. And then what looks to be a lectern at the front that does have a book open, but as you walk in, you see the pages flutter from the wind, and it seems to almost slightly close as he kind of walks you back towards the church, or back to the actual church area. You see a door off to the side that looks, and as you assume, is probably the priest's personal room, if you had to guess. Otherwise, there doesn't look to be any other doors other than the front entrance.
So there is no cleric to the mother here? Besides me standing here.
Did Og Brightwing tell you otherwise? I can do healing magic, but my capabilities are a lot more limited compared to our clerical and medicine trained brethren and sisters. I heal through nature, as the goddess does not sit to beseech me with any sort of gift as part of my atonement. I must show my love for her through the natural causes.
Oh, that's not what I meant. I was wondering if you've had this place consecrated.
Oh, yes, I believe it was consecrated before I arrived. I was given a vision to arrive here and told this would be a place I could gain a flock. My understanding is this place is already well set. You are more than welcome to go about and do so if you will, though, young follower. Please do not let me keep you, as I am only on my own road of redemption. I have no right to tell you how to serve your God.
Thank you. There's just the past few days. There's been quite a lot of things going on, things that have been warping my mind, things that have been taking the appearance of the mother that isn't. I don't know if it's been doing that to other people, which is, I'm a little bit more cautious nowadays.
As is wise, there's many who come through these lands that preach falsehoods, like that blasted Lachey that came through here named Valthana. She thought that she could take my flock by interceding with her strange god.
DM, do I sense any of my deities, like, divine presence in these halls?
I'll take wisdom or concentration.
All right, let's rock concentration. Wow, that's a nice one. That'll be a 27.
27. Let me check something. You sense one of her domains. Almost immediately something seems fishy as you kind of look about and begin to kind of meditate just slightly, keeping your eyes on the individual, but kind of letting your mind wander a little bit and letting it focus in on the magic. You sense the domain of death all around you, but you sense 4 other domains also all around you. You sense law and nature, as well as life and protection. It seems that these lands have been consecrated before. It's hard to tell what domain stands at the top due to how much it's been apparently consecrated. From what you're able to tell with that roll, this place is definitely not... This isn't the first time a church has set up here.
Gotcha. I mean, death, yes. Life is the other one.
Yes,
I'm a life.
You would know that Ella Ugbo is a death, life, and protection are her most common domains.
Mm-hmm.
The law and nature would make no sense to your god, because she does not she does not have a care towards the law, and nor does nature have much. While nature does typically die, it does. Most scholars assume in the divine concept that trees do not move on. They are forever in the mortal plane.
I'm talking to the druid. I'm sensing law and nature here. Is that because of you?
He looks at you and kind of takes a second and goes, "Oh, young follower, it must be. These lands have been consecrated to multiple gods. When I first showed up here, they were evil. Now we've managed to push away the evil, and I assume these other domains you sense are probably the last of the remains of its influence. Thankfully, they are less damaging to our beliefs than the previous gods."
Well, then, let's see what I can do about removing those remaining minor influences for good, at least in this area.
He kind of nods and goes, "Feel free if you wish to go about doing what you can. I only caution not to upset the natural balances. Domains are quite hard to remove, and the influence of powerful gods can be dangerous, especially when we deal with wild and untamed lands, young one. Take it from someone who has beseeched his goddess's beliefs to know that The goddess does not forgive easily when it comes to failing her.
Hmm.
But he goes back to standing on his behind his lectern, and he begins again to read. As he does, you see him hold up the shield in his hand, and kind of waves it about. As he does so, you have a warning weapon, don't you?
So the Mother's Belief shield only warns if there are undead nearby that have ill intent.
Okay. Good to know. As you kind of take a second trying to see if this individual's summoning anything, just taking a moment to pause and listening in on the sermon, your weapon your shield does not go off at all.
Before I start the consecration, I am going to try to, feel any divine, touch from Ella Ugbo to see if it's okay, or if this is the place I should not, if there is any true danger here.
Okay. Give me wisdom or concentration for trying to commune with your goddess, yeah.
Concentration, that's what we like to see. 22.
22. You begin to kind of focus, letting your mind wander and letting your focus kind of take hold. You space out for a moment, and your goddess does not seem to reach out to you in any way. You don't feel her presence anywhere around you for a moment. It seems as if there's just nothing here. It's strange. Anywhere should have divine presence. As you feel out Kez, but nothing seems to connect. You feel almost as if your spells are weakened while you stand here.
I am going to cast Protection from Evil on myself.
Okay. Let me ask you something. When you were going to do your second spacing out and kind of speak with your goddess, were you stepping out of the church when you were doing this, or were you staying in there listening to the sermon?
I would stay inside.
All right, I need a will and fortitude save.
Heard. $24 will.
Okay.
And 26 fortitude.
Fuck. Kez, you feel for a moment, something seems to be around you, but just as quickly, as you kind of focus your mind back, nothing's there, and you kind of feel on the side of your neck, you feel a little something trickling down it, and as you kind of touch at it, you see the smallest dab of blood as if you just got a paper cut on your neck. The druid is still speaking about the sermon, continuing to go on. Something along the lines of protecting those who are weak and fighting against the unjustness of death. And continues on.
Now, where on my neck? Is it like the same spot as where we got marked?
No. To make clear, just on the side of your neck randomly. Like that's why I didn't specify.
Sorry, I was let me make this clear.
I got the same concern.
That's fully fair.
It's a slash, not like a puncture. Right?
Correct. Yep. Like a paper cut.
Gotcha.
He continues going on about the sermon now, waving his gnarled wood stick in the air as he does, kind of as it makes a light jingling noise and as he pounds it onto the ground to emphasize his points.
Do you mind if I sense motive?
Feel free. And what are you trying to sense motive on this guy?
If he has any ill intent towards me.
Okay.
Let's see. 21.
He is not hostile to you in any way. In fact, he seems to almost be oblivious of your presence as he's gotten into his sermon. His eyes have kind of slightly rolled back as he is now just speaking from the book in front of him. as he kind of like moves around, shaking his staff and kind of emphasizing his points as he does so.
Okay, so no ill intent towards me. Supposed druid of Ella Ugbo is now this. I mean, he is just preaching. I assume there's no like dedicated like Ella Ugbo Bible or anything, right?
There aren't holy books to most gods. Only a
Yeah.
few that are very established, like Saphira, for example. But that's because of her brother's influence.
Yeah, I figured as much. So I wouldn't be able to like take what he's saying and see if it actually matches with doctrine.
Give me a knowledge religion.
I am really glad that in my last level up, I started putting some stuff into knowledge religion.
I would hope you did as a cleric.
Well, I also need it for prestige classes. 16.
16. As you think for a second hearing this, I mean, it matches up with the doctrine, but it doesn't. As he continues to go on, you hear him say stuff about the unjustness of death, the returning to the soil, the goddess's belief in strength against all others, the heretical misbelief of bringing back the dead. It matches, but something about it just sits wrong with you every time you hear him speaking it. You're unsure why, though.
Well, let's cleanse this holy ground. Now I'm gonna do some consecrating.
Now I'm gonna ask you: are you gonna do this before the rest of them show up, or are you gonna wait a minute and wait for your party just in case you need backup?
All right, I'll wait.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. At least I'll be able to be here and be able to suss out. Would you at least?
Yep.
Would I get a investigation check while I'm waiting for them to see if I can suss out anything?
Yeah, give me a search check for while in the meantime while you wait for the rest of your team as you kind of step
you're
out.
prepping the spell.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Oh, I have to sort out my 20 different types of silver. She's Ella.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Right. That'll be a 14 search.
Okay, we'll come back to that in a minute then. Because that's going to be very important. I will say, you do find something interesting as you find a cellar that is, as you kind of walk around the grounds of the church, that you accidentally run your foot into as it's completely invisible. As you tap into it with your foot, you watch the invisibility disappear and see the wooden doors braced with a massive iron lock that looks to be big enough to hold back a small dragon's claw. As you kind of take a second to contemplate. Now, while you contemplate that, we're going to jump back over. Eider and Dom, as you two sit head into the library, seeing the vast shelves of books, feeling the Sprungus Frungus in the distance, as Frungus is apparently dying from boredom as he posts. But as you go into the library looking about the shelves, you do see books on different creatures, collective of Pyrus editions, leaders, nations. There look to be books on tons of subjects. What are you looking for?
I think Eider would look at. Well, not Eider. I'm Eider now. Hey, fun fact.
Nice.
I'm
not even dead
as
yet.
the new party leader.
Yeah, right?
No, clearly you're Dom in this scenario. We swapped. No, I think.
Oh, I walked up
Dom
to the
would
nearest
look
potted plant and began questioning it about its life story.
God damn
No,
it, no.
clearly I don't need to question it. I just sense motive and I see it. It's like a little game pop-up.
God
Hey,
damn it.
I'm Dom now.
Alright. But no,
Dom
good.
would turn to Eider and go, "We should look into more about the tomb in our quest, but I will also be researching Oat and his followers. If you find anything about them, please bring it up to me." And Dom's going to look for information on the cult as well as stuff on the tomb.
Okay.
I do the
But
same.
he's focusing on the cult stuff first. So line of priority, stuff about Oat and the cult, stuff about the tomb. If I find anything about the Zill or the bug creatures, I'll point it out, but lower on the priority chart.
Okay.
My priority isn't on. Oh, really? Is my secondary focus? It's actually on Valthana. So she's
Yes, we
definitely
should
not
split
like a
focus.
humanoid. Like I fully do not
Definitely
like
not.
buy into her being a humanoid creature.
I mean, I don't know if Ned told us in character, but out of character, we know Ned and Kez saw her as a tentacle eldritch monster, so she's not human
All right, so
or elvish.
Dom, you're starting with give me a D100 or
Yes.
give me a D3 and a D100.
Gladly.
And then
D3,
Eider, give me a D3 and a D100 for Valthana.
I only have a D4, I think.
172, okay.
I'm rolling the D3 digitally. Okay, even, respectable.
Okay. 2, alright. And then for the D100?
Yep.
Gonna need a montage.
That is a, I think 00 is 10.
Okay.
Right, or is that 100?
No, it's 100.
That's 100.
Yep.
Oh, 102. That's damn. I got max.
Alright.
Doesn't happen usually.
For Eider, as we'll start with you, give me a moment. So as you kind of look through the books, looking for names, looking for notable individuals, you do see a book on Fae, and as you kind of recall being told outright her race being a Lachey, not knowing the mortal races and knowing that the Fae race or the Fae lands or Fae wilds are the most documented of all of the other planes as far as species go, kind of accepting that your options are probably better spent there to start with. You go and pop open the tome. Seeing through the Fae courts, the different kings and queens that have risen. And as you're kind of looking through, you notice Valthana 1, Valthana 2, Valthana 3, Valthana 4. Around 45 different Valthanas have ruled amongst the Fae kingdoms as the most powerful Fae amongst their lands. There is multiple listings of different ones, all of them listed as powerful creatures, noted to take on the Lachey form and most capable in both physical and magical combat. There are striking similarities as you look at the artwork of the different Valthanas. All of them having the same gray skin, the same nose, the same colored eyes, the same shaped eyes. The hairstyle changes every once in a while. One even has a beard on it for some strange reason that you can tell is clearly almost as if someone put it on there. But as you look through, it seems to be that this individual has been around for a long time. As you look through the book, it's the same picture over and over again. The last entry was from about 1,000 years ago, as the last Valthana to rule was taken out by the fairy queen, or the more current fairy queen, recent, as she died. The Silent Song, I believe, was her name. Let me make sure.
Okay.
Let me pull my Apex Monsters because I think I've got her listed under that. Un momento, por favor. I did not. Did I put her name in the lore chat? Apology. Wait, what the fuck? Did lore chat oh no, it got moved. Who's moving my chats? God damn it. Give me a second. I just find this individual's name, as this will be important for you. Yeah. Oh yes. Sorry. The Queen of the Fae, Fairy, the Forgotten Song, who was, as of last you had heard, killed by the leader of the Loxodon Nation in an attack.
That's not the puppet of Zebril, is it?
No. The Loxodon King is supposedly...
No, I mean the fairy.
Oh, no.
Okay. Because I remember he had a pixie that he was
did.
piloting.
Yeah, this individual was considered a fairy dragon.
Gotcha.
But as you kind of dig through the book and kind of take your own contemplations for a moment, looking through all of them, what I will mention is every time that you catch that she was taken from her throne, she never gave it up or died of old age. It seems she was always ousted by another individual to take her position. Then after they would die, she would seemingly take it after them, as you find. But
is so how is it? in your lore about how mutable are, the Fae? Because like in their own realm, they really don't like common like kind of morphology at least is like they don't really have like a permanence to them. They do whatever the fuck they want because it just doesn't fucking matter when your realm is pure goddamn chaos.
So yes, they can be killed. Unlike like fiends, for example, in traditional D&D, they can be killed in the mortal plane as well as their own plane. They do have power rankings, and they are very structured. Surprisingly, it's just a lot more wild because there's more wars and fights to prove of power, and boundaries are a lot more loose. As some villages may recognize one individual as a ruler, another may not even know that ruler exists yet, and that may be 10 generations back still and not know about it. Generally speaking, as far as it goes, Fae that typically enter into go about to the mortals are considered chaotic as individuals, having no rhyme or reason to their actions, as far as what you know of them.
Yeah, I was more like
go ahead.
speaking like physically because like they don't like they. A lot of the things I know about like Fae is like generally they favor a physical form. That isn't necessarily true about like this is who they are.
They do have typically a cemented appearance. It is hard for a Fae to change, and they do not age typically. Once they reach maturity for whatever species they are, if they even have to reach maturity, if their species requires it, and they're not just born or come into existence as they are, they will typically favor a very specific look, and that will be the look they are permanently, just as their species would. So in the example of Lachey, all Lachey will naturally be of gray skin and white hair. They just might vary between them because of the fact that if they have the same Lachey parentage. That's not to state that according to what you know of the Feywilds that they can just pop into existence. It's just rare, and there's not much documentation on how that works.
Gotcha. I was just trying to like denote it's like how notable it was that they all look the same because like in theory they could just like there could be just this noted figure and it's like, oh, I want to look like this person.
It'd be the equivalent of no, because that'd be more of a the Heliovoli and the Asmar imagery as far as how that would work in that sense. The Lachey are just as individualistic as any other race. They are just harder to discern between each other by the mortal races.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah. So, all right, perfect. I think there's yours, and then jumping over to Dom. Dom, as you look around for Oat, having rolled a 2, and the other roll was 100.
Yes.
You do find a book on the study of oat's organic tissue. There's a full depiction of how, like, biologically he is surmised to work. He is very large, heavy weight, kind of is drawn out in different medical depictions of him. Easiest ways to get to his heart through the very thick fat, as well as, like, what his breath weapon does to an analysis of how the soul gets sucked into it. The book basically is a full medical breakdown to gloom dragons.
Ooh.
As the first one you find.
I think Dom will find that immediately have his interest piqued by the first few pages, and I think is going to, while Ider's getting all the Fae info, settle down and read as much as he can. He's probably gonna plan to ask to borrow it, but right now he's gonna skim through the most important chapters to read them. So the weaknesses, that you mentioned, the weaknesses in Oat's body, and then how his soul powers function and how that affects the soul is also what he's for sure gonna read.
Yeah, so as you look through, give me a moment. Excuse me, I'm just trying to
basically Ider, yeah.
How to kill Oat, yeah. Un momento, I'm finding the sheet for my Gloom Dragon info. Hey, Pocket DM, if you want something to do, quickly look that up for me if you can find it faster than I can. Because I am having an issue finding it. I had it. I closed the tab. There it is. Oh, you know what? It's funny you sent me at the exact same time I found it. Thank you, Justin. I appreciate that. Yeah, so as you look through, you do realize that Gloom Dragons are notoriously noted as slow. They are specifically very weak to holy damage. Notably, specifically Ella Ugbo's people or followers are the most common to use to hunt gloom dragons, and have actually been most often employed near the Gloomlands for that. As you kind of look through, it has accounts even from one of the first followers of Ella Ugbo talking about slaying these creatures and stealing their souls for power, and putting it into items to basically grant them the ability to gain revenge. What else? As far as the only other things you gain for weaknesses, specifically towards Oat, is his innateness to not be able to digest. It is noted specifically that his souls, or the souls in his body, seem to have an adverse effect and are making him fat. And there's a little note written into the book that looks to be in giant as you look at it. And looks very familiar for the handwriting, as it's very fanciful and actually very well written out. It notes that the gloom Oat specifically seems to not naturally be able to act as a gloom dragon, and seems to have it underlined as a fair marker. Beyond that, you don't find any other weaknesses other than the holiness and then him being specifically very fat. However, you do read that he does, or his what his breath weapon is. You do learn about they do have a frightful presence, and that they have a deep thing called a deep slumber, which is the only other moment which is noted to be able to kill them, as they manage to fall into a sleep so deep that they they cannot be awoken from it without themselves naturally doing it. In a sense, this is a healing, what is believed as a healing mechanism of some sort.
Okay. Yeah, I think Dom's gonna probably make his own little notes and whatever little book he's been keeping track of shit with. So Eider will just hear frantic page turn, several minutes of silence as Dom is just hunched down reading, and then several minutes of frantic scribbling, and then just a repeat pattern in the background. There are no words, no other sounds. He's just focused.
I will add one little last note for your own notes, as this would be a more of an out-of-character thing to keep, as there's not really a good way to put this as a description other than the fact that he seems to be magically immune, or he is known to be magically immune. It is noted that he has a spell resistance of nearly 20 plus. So, meaning that one of the few things he's very capable at is taking on arcane spells. However, there's no note on whether this also applies to the divine magics.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. But as you kind of finish scribbling this down in your own notebook as you're reading through it frantically, as you kind of finish up, the two of you finish up kind of reading through your books for a bit, after a bit, getting your own notes down. Is there any other books you wanted to look for the two of you?
I think Dom would look for a book or two if he could find any about the tome specifically they're looking for, or anything if there's a history book of the area that might mention a tome in it, just to get some info for the quest.
Just checking something. Okay, so I have a dumb question. What do you mean tome?
Oh,
Tomb? Oh, the tomb. Okay, I was making sure. I was like, wait, did I write in the quest this is a thing for a tome? I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah, you know that book? There's definitely a book involved, guys.
I was about to say, if I forgot something. Yeah, I was like, if I forgot something or I wrote something I wasn't supposed to. Yes, okay. Give me a search check as you look for it. And then while you roll that, Eider, is there anything else you're looking for specifically? And yes, to answer your question that you posted in the chat, basically.
Think just looking at just random bullshit about the tomb. I'm not really going to be looking into the traps because, to be fucking honest with you, there's not going to be a book that's very conveniently labeled, "Here's all the traps in this tomb" in a step-by-step guide of how to fucking avoid them.
Well, if you can crit a search check, maybe there might be.
Well, fucking, I could crit a search check. That doesn't mean that book exists.
Listen, I figure we'll get some general lore info if I get a high enough roll.
That's also could be the case.
Not even the traps, more just general lore.
My goal is more towards the whatever creature is entombed there, because a tomb is for things.
Mhm.
Typically it would be a vault, right, if it was just for an item. But
Mhm.
the creature that's actually entombed there, alongside like the notable history of like the item that is ostensibly entombed as well,
Okay.
alongside it.
Okay. Yeah. As both of you give me a search check. Dom got a 16. It's true that book on the traps is in Regan Utham's lands. Unfortunately, first edition too. 21. All right. Between the two of you, as you kind of start looking at the shelves, almost a knowing gleam in the as you look, kind of give each other a look. Looking about, you do find a book called the it well. It specifically reads the title, and again, I'm using this as Ogg's exact title he gave me. Weapons that the Regan has asked me to look into.
Fuck this guy.
Tombs included. No joke, this is the title. Written by Ogg Brightwing. As you kind of pop it open, you do kind of, as you flip through the pages, you do notice there's a bunch of tombs that are listed in there. Actually, in fact, there's almost 65 in count as you go through that have been discovered or are believed to be discovered by Ogg's grouping in the last month. He also notes that these are, as he believes, related to the 3 towers he found far to the north in the open lands on the northern continent that were seemingly made of weird fleshy bits and seem to encase powerful magic items. As he mentions, the tombs seem to all be related to this ancient era that has long since passed. His understanding of what he's been able to gather for reports are these individuals seem to follow similar to or seem to all bear a similar mark as an item that he had heard about being bought recently. An item that he, as he shows, it looks to be a. Let me pull it up just to make sure I have the right note. So my apologies. It's not a weapon. He marks it as a shield, as it looks to be. Though, as he shows, it looks to be a shield with a massive gemstone in the center of it, and showing a sigil of something that doesn't, as you look at it, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's so abstract in design that there's no rhyme or reason to it, other than a couple of different shapes that are kind of shoved together and lines that link them. But as you look at this, he puts a mention down below that this mark seems to represent those of cold magic capability and those of demonic origin. Naming, and he puts the house of Ijin and circles it a few times as what he believes the tomb that you are looking at, as as there's a map depicting where it seems to be, following a similar line to what you lot are noted to be looking at from the quest. As he puts in there, he continues on that most of the findings have been low-ranked ice demons, from what he's been able to find, and seem to come in small groups of 1 to 2. The only unfortunate thing he is not sure of is what's buried below, as he believes this could either be one of the consorts to the head of the family, which would, as he puts it, make it a nation-ending threat, or it is a simple servant who has been buried as part of a connecting tomb to one of the larger tombs that would be in the same area. He is not sure, as he puts it. Last thing you get from this is that the tomb itself is noted to specialize in, it seems to be specialized in killing magic casters, as it seems to eat and swallow natural magic from those around it, or those that enter it. Many who have gone in have noted seeing the demons that walk about its halls, not only mummified, but able to use their spells when they're eaten.
Huh. That's not great. Fuck.
Guys, I'm perfectly equipped for this.
Do y'all have your like frost resistance cloaks on, right?
Yeah.
He also attaches a map of exactly what he has drawn out to detail with the help of his people, and this is the map that falls out.
I was fucking kidding about the goddamn step by step, but fuck it. Here we
It's not,
go.
it's not a step by step. It's this is just a drop. I mean, again, this is what he believes the thing to be, as he notes that most of the corridors have not been explored, and most of this tomb has not been able to be gone past the first room inside. He believes this is based on what is a previous city town that should have been built here. This is what it should match up to.
I gotcha. And then like the freezing over, is it like theorized that it's either because of the artifact or because of like the tomb? Like,
He does not. He doesn't list an artifact or an item being entombed in it. What he
I thought
lists.
the shield was.
What he lists instead as the main focal point of the tomb seems to be a book that is being protected by a chest with a shield on it.
Oh,
The shield is depicted as being on a mantle behind this chest, which, as he has put in there, believes it might be a fake item, and maybe a something put there for grave robbers to steal at the assumption they found the correct one, and to kind of put off a falsehood. He notes the chest should contain whatever is causing the magic. His theory is it is an ancient grimoire of magic that seems to be active and spilling out. Which would, as he notes, make it very capable. And I apologize, I'm reading his notes as from what he sent me. So,
Okay. Oh, good. Just clarifying, it was like when you say shield, do you mean like a literal thing like straps to your chest, or just like the alternate name for like a crest?
a physical tower shield, and it looks to be, as you look at the drawing of it, looks to be about 10 feet in height and about 5 feet in width, with a gemstone at the center of it and the abstract symbols behind the gemstone.
Well, that's a girthy fucking boy.
Mm-hmm.
That is a large-sized tower shield.
That would easily hide all of you
Yes,
in combat.
it is literally sized for a large creature. I physically could not wield it.
Might be able to push it like a
Well,
snow,
I'm
like
amongst,
like a snow shovel. But as
like
you
a
look
fly.
over it,
Instead
on
of
the
shield,
side.
like a surf on it.
the last thing
Like,
that's
Breath of the
mentioned in there is that there's a little side note of this one just got added, so I'm explaining this. Og writes in there as his own personal note that he has seen an individual druid sniffing around the entrance the last few times that he's gone near the place, and believes that he theorizes the individual might know something. But he does not list who much more on the detail of the individual.
Got it. I'll like jot the map down and like some vellum and like scratch materials, so I'm not just outright stealing shit from a
Yeah.
high-ranking government official.
Yeah, especially one that you're kind of allied with temporarily. Yep.
Yeah, I'd rather not just like make immediate enemy.
Mm-hmm.
But like just like do like a rough outline.
Okay.
I don't imagine I get like crazy specific. So
Yeah, I'm not going to make you do a
Yeah,
roll
cool.
for it. As you draw it out, it's not too hard to copy. Thankfully, as you kind of begin copying after it, getting a rough design of it. It's not pretty, but it gives you the hallways and the room sizes roughly in comparison to each other, and that's pretty much all you need, as well as marking the location on your map.
You want to employ Dom's calligraphy skill to help at all, or?
yeah,
Dom,
you just see like
do you want to roll for calligraphy to try and see if you can help? I mean, it would be
Yeah, like,
calligraphy.
really
I believe is
like-
writing. I think it's art that's drawing
Make
a
it
map.
look pretty.
Yeah, you're gonna do
Cartography is definitely mapping. but I'm
Cartography
like,
I'll
if we're
take, yeah.
copying something, if you want to make it look pretty, Dom's here. Otherwise, I think Dom's just looking through a bunch of books like, tomb? No. Tomb? No. This is a tome on tomes. That seems a little bit redundant.
Got a
Tomb?
list
No.
of tomes, all the 100 tomes a wizard could want.
Basically. This
As you
this
two,
book
yeah,
has been eaten by moths. This is useless.
as you two kind of
no.
go through the books, reading every or rather, as you're going through the books, and as you see either drawing down the map or drawing down the location of the tomb on the map, as well as drawing a roughness of the map shown in the book. Yeah.
Oh no! If you want to study your line, you need to hold your pen like this.
As Dom comes over and kind of grabs the pen, draws the
If-
line
if
a
you
little
want
more
a thinner
straight.
line, you actually should hold it at this angle, and then you could get really thin lines, which helps with details like this.
it just starts turning into that one scene from Ghost.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, oh, I didn't know you felt this way.
I'm just like
In the
towering
distance,
over you, hunched down on
Frungus
my
feels
knees,
jealous.
like, grabbing your little dwarven pen with my like two fingers.
I will note it at this point. I will note you haven't seen or heard from Kez in about an hour and a half at this point.
Okay, how much do you want to bet in gold right now? Something has happened.
Let's go check.
That's not fair! That's not fair! That's metagaming!
Oh, I would have said that even if we had gone first. I want you to know that was in the plan.
All right, do you want to go fucking fight it on your own?
I hear it.
You doing it on your own, buddy?
Yeah, but
I'll do it! I'll do it! I'll die, but I'll do it!
no, I need to go see the corpse. I need to see the corpse. Dom was gonna go anyway.
So that's the other thing. I don't know if Kez picked up on that. This place is supposed to have corpses, and he hasn't seen anything as of
And
yet.
there's no bodies.
Yeah, I picked up on it, trust me.
That was fishy. Yeah, all right. Yeah, so you two are gonna kind of head out after that.
Yep, gonna go like find our good friend.
Yep.
Make sure he's not being murdered or eaten by ghouls.
As you pass by, Og kind of smiles and waves at you as he seems to kind of be talking, or kind of looking about, talking to another courier. As you kind of run off, still no Frungus or Sprungus anywhere in sight. But as you head out into the garden and begin following the eastern road that you were told about, it doesn't take you long to find the single-towered building with the one bell lightly ringing in the background, seemingly giving a very pleasant chime as the midday seems to kind of begin to hit. Though no one seems to be really working back in this area, many of the buildings kind of crumbling still on their own, you can still hear the distant sounds of the hammers over the light rain and the wind kind of blowing. As you get closer, though, you see Kez kind of just standing outside, like kind of rubbing his chin as he kind of looks at something on the side of the building and looks to be deep in thought.
So this place cursed?
As kind of Kez looks around, doesn't see Eider anywhere.
God. You can't sneak up on me like that, bro.
I am almost physically incapable of sneaking.
Very loud.
Listen,
if anything, I'm quieter than him.
I was very much deep in. Anyway, you guys want to open this invisible door that's no longer invisible?
What the hell?
Where? I thought. Sorry, we came here to look for bodies, and you
Yeah,
came here
I think shit's fucked.
You see, as he says this, you see the door kind of opens up as about a 6 foot tall, hunched over looking kobold comes walking out. His his black scales get glimmering a little bit in the light, though they look to be a little bit more pale in coloration as the light hits them. He opens the door and smiles at you. Sense evil? I don't think that's a spell. But,
I'm already on
What are you
it.
talking about? What are you talking about? I've got sense evil.
yeah, you detect alignment evil. He is not evil, for reference.
Okay.
As
I've done my part.
Yep. As he kind of looks out, seeing you immediately as Kez says this and goes, "Oh, you brought more friends, young priest. I appreciate you bringing more people. Are you here to see the bodies by chance? As that would make sense why your compatriot here has been so quiet and standing out here while I was giving my sermon." As he kind of points over to Keznok as he addresses Dom and Ida as you walk out, or after you walked out.
I mean, he was definitely
I am
practicing
going-
his sermon, that's for sure.
I would like to sense. Is there a way? I know it's an odd question. To sense motive, not necessarily the guy, but the situation.
That's
One of the DM.
That's called situational awareness. I can't give you that. You have to have that as an individual.
Then could I do like a listen or a spot check to
Sure.
see if there are other
Common
people or
sense roll.
bodies?
Wait, you want to listen or spot for
I
what?
want. Basically, Dom's like, we were just told by this guy who's so excited to see his church, something's wrong. This guy hobbles out, like, "Oh, you want to see the corpses, right, kid?" So Dom's like, "I'm not even gonna address you. I want to see what the fuck's going on in this building right now."
Yeah, give me a sense motive for see if there's any tension in the air or anything that seems off.
You said which check?
Sense motive.
Oh, hell yeah, you're actually... Actually, I think my spot and listen checks are higher.
I
Hold
know.
on.
That sucks, doesn't it? Yep. We're going with sense motive to see if the situation seems weird.
Ah, 24. The
Um,
vibes.
he doesn't seem to have any hostility towards you. He seems crazy slightly, but you don't know much about this individual. He put a church in a city to a god in a city that had a god living in it. That's pretty fucking insane. This individual's got some balls to do that. Given there might be cultists still around that would be willing to easily shank his ass as the first prime target as an enemy church. But nothing seems off. There does seem to be some weird, strange tension between Kez and this individual that you catch, but it seems to be coming more from Kez's suspicion as you notice him kind of eyeing the individual and kind of paying very close attention, rather than this individual who seems to be completely oblivious.
Yes, if you don't mind, we did hear that you were dealing with bodies. We would like to see them.
He nods and goes, "Oh, you'll have to come around to the cellar. I keep an invisibility scroll on it to keep people from going in there and looting through the corpses, or even worse, as those nasty necromancers keep stealing our bodies."
It's very noble.
He nods and goes, "Hopefully the smell didn't catch you. Some people run into it. I tell you, I ran in my foot into the damn thing like 4 times the last week and stubbed each toe." As he kind of starts to fall along the side of the building with his cane. As he kind of walks around it, he kind of walks over to the cellar, and you see the spell has been completely taken off as you all see the cellar. He points to it. Oh, Kez, as you notice, the giant iron lock is gone. As he walks over towards it, and you see a smaller little copper lock in its place, he kind of pulls out a key off of his neck and leans down and smiles as you hear a light crack coming from his back and goes, "I am not as young as I once was. I do apologize," as he unchains the thing and looks over at Eider and goes, "Oh, Eider, it is good to see you again. You came by a while ago. Didn't you have something you wanted made? I know I helped you with something. Some spell you were having crafted?"
Wait, did he just call me by name?
He did.
Yeah.
Huh?
I just like
He looks over at Kez and goes, "Yes, Eider came and met with me not last night. Something, I helped him with some enchantment that he had asked for,
Oh,
some
this
items."
is the fucker. Got it. Right, I did need a druid to do stone shape.
I look very suspiciously at Eider.
He goes, Eider, he spent much of the night with me, in fact, in my workshop, going through everything. We had a great time. I mean, he told me all about... Is this the individual, this Kesnanok fella that they were trying to make out to be a woman?
Yeah, this is him.
Oh, terrible shit they put on you. I tell you, if I meet any undead that do that, I'll let you know right away, because that is something that there's a standard we casters need to keep and upheld. That is just horrible. I met an individual who tried to make stone testicles. It's on the same level as that. It's just unnecessary.
That's just wrong.
He nods and goes, I couldn't agree more, as he opens the cellar doors and goes, I hope you don't mind the extra precautions. There's a slight smell of death. Once you get past the door entrance down below, that smell disappears. It's to keep the people coming by from getting in there and thinking it's something valuable, usually. But if the invisibility hasn't worked, I figure the sense of death will scare most thieves.
But what about deterrence from necromancers?
Well, that's what this is, as he rings his staff, and you hear the wood jingle, or make a metallic jingle in it. He goes, "This thing will bop you in the head harder than anything if you're a necromancer. It's got an enchant on to let me know if you're a capable caster of the school."
We got a buddy like that, Ned. He's got a spear that does something similar.
He nods and goes, "Yes, I don't have, unfortunately, I don't know of any Neds, but, sounds like an interesting fella," as he kind of leads you down into the basement below, where you see a couple of bodies laid out on long tables that are being, looked to be in the middle of being processed, their insides being taken out, or their bodies being sewed back up, some of them being painted, as it looks like, as you see vials of paint or makeup set aside. He kind of looks at you as he goes, You are here for the giant corpse, I assume.
That would be correct. I would like to have a look at it to help potentially identify it for Og.
He nods, and as he goes to open the door, opens the door to a smaller room off to the side, he kind of goes in and then comes out with a table that looks to have pretty large wooden wheels on it. As he kind of pulls it out, a corpse that looks mangled. Both arms are missing. The head from the neck up is completely gone. The torso is shredded as if someone just went at it with heavy claws, attacking and tearing at every bit of it. The legs look as if they've had their muscles torn out, with strange, almost piercing wounds as you look at them. He kind of the druid looks at you, La Grossora, and kind of takes a moment judging your face and goes, I do apologize for the appearance. This was prior to my investigations. This is how the corpse was given.
Question. For the body.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Is it like a fresher body, or is this like an old body? Like, is the flesh on this like rotting and bloated, or is this like flesh that has been preserved, like it's almost like dried, it's brittle, it's like almost mummified?
Roll me medicine.
Heal.
Okay.
Heal. Yeah. Thank you. Well, profession medicine technically works too.
I'll just do heal.
The actual trained medicine man right behind it.
3,
Wow!
23.
Good God!
I'm a doctor now.
Oh no!
As Kez kind of like waits with a smirk, expecting Dom to turn around and ask.
Medical license.
Dom begins to kind of like look and poke at the wounds. Kez, you watch. It is the most clumsy looking push around, but they're doing everything you would if you were gonna like investigate the corpse. It's just not clean. As you see, Dom does not care about putting their hands onto the corpse, pulling apart the split skin, looking inside of it with the bare hands, getting blood and guts all over it. As you watch, as they don't really put anything back, they just kind of pull their hands out and look about more.
So unsanitary.
I would say Dom has taken his gauntlets off, so he's not doing this with his items.
No, yeah,
he's
bare
being
hands. Yeah.
respectful, but he is just like going in there. Like he's on a mission. He's not showing.
And what are you trying to gather?
Much praise. Well, I'm trying to identify the body specifically if there's flesh remaining. Although I'm dubious.
There is.
What I'm looking for.
There is flesh remaining.
I'm looking for signs of tattoos, and on the body, I'm looking for signs of jewelry that might have a house crest or any signs of a family or like guild affiliation. The person, I'm sure you know who I'm looking for, would have had these on them. So
I will say the corpse is nude. There's no jewels, no gems, no nothing on it.
Okay.
As you look, as you kind of look over the corpse, it is a fire giant, as you realize.
Mm-hmm.
And every bit where you would expect any sort of tattoo to identify looks to have been completely cut off. You notice almost in particular the patches of skin where most of these markings would have been either removed or so shredded that it is too hard to tell as the skin looks to be old. You are able to gather that this corpse is probably 2-3 months old. And looks to have been degraded multiple times, meaning it was continuously attacked. Last thing you do notice is there is a small marker by the foot of the individual. You do know it's male. It is a male fire giant. As it does still have its dick still attached, although that is also shredded up pretty badly.
Dick's out.
Yeah, full out. He does not have a cloth or covering anything. You do notice down on the bottom of the foot, something catches your attention that wasn't there, and you see the holy symbol of Oat, and it looks like it was branded onto it, not tattooed. So as if someone took a burning brand.
And then this was...
Right? No, onto the bottom of his foot.
And then this was 2 to 3 months, so this would not line up with the timeline of who Dom's looking for. So I'll ask, and mostly hoping that the nat 20 will carry me. is there signs of this person having been like brought back from the dead and then killed multiple times, or revived and potentially killed, or do I need to make like a Arcana type check for that?
Kez, would you give aid in this situation, or are you gonna kind of just stand back and let Dom handle this?
I'll help
Just-
Dom.
If Dom
Yeah.
asks the question out loud, I could just tell you right away.
Oh yeah,
whether or
I
not-
mean, if you guys aren't like barking in the corner, he would
I would
like kind
say
of request aid.
between
Dealt with worse.
either can tell yes that there's been someone's been definitely bringing this person back and killing them multiple times. You guesstimate around 30 or 40 without an immediate check. It's clear signs that this this body's been degraded to an extreme amount, and every bit of its magic has been basically used to keep it coming back. What's strange is the fact that the body's in worse shape, of course, than it should be for the degradation. Kez, what you managed to gather is whoever was causing this was a cleric. As you recognize, the spell markings on the body seem to be very similar to what clerics use for resurrection and revivify. However, as you look over the body, you also notice something seems a little off as you look about. You notice both the nipples on the creature have been torn off, and I literally mean torn as if something was like put to them, not cut, not sliced. The other thing that catches your attention on top of that is the fact that the corpse overall does look to have been messed with. It doesn't look to be a natural fire giant. You're not sure why, but you're pretty sure there's some sort of holy altercation on this thing. Oh, did we lose Azurus? Or Kez?
Nope,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay. He's thinking.
I ask Ligor, when did you get this body in?
Yeah, next thing goes, we got it in a little after the city was taken. I didn't get it, to be fair. It stayed with Og and his people for, I don't know, a few days, I think. Months, maybe. Wasn't really told much of the details. I just was given it and told to prep it for eventual burial. And, well, I mean, as you probably saw, the catacombs aren't exactly yet set for burial rites.
There's something wrong about this. I just...
What?
I don't know.
I.
You get
What
that
did
feeling.
you find?
I'll describe it because I'm not here mentally enough to repeat everything. I'm tired.
Fair.
So hopefully you guys remembered it.
Yeah, well, I wrote it down.
This
Holy altercation. What does that imply?
The girl sort of looks up and goes, it depends. If this individual is a champion of a god, the god can morph you. It's basically magic that doesn't make sense to us mortals, is what we can gather from it. The gods act in mysterious ways, as you will.
I'm worried about the resurrection. Brought back and killed over and over again?
Can you tell me, with your knowledge of medicine and divine, if you can tell if this individual was older the first time they died? Their age.
This body is... Well, you said, like, this... It's been a body for 3 months, so it's in pretty rough shape.
Well, yeah, and it's even worse by how much it's been degraded. Like, it did not get treated well. Someone's put this thing through the shredder, and it's been lightly decomposing since.
Is there any way I could tell about the actual age of the subject? I assume not, unless some kind of preservation was put on it.
Give me a profession medicine, healer, or I'll take a heal check.
Manifesting a 20. Come on.
Yeah, right. Let's see, because I've got profession healer, but I've got profession doctor as well.
I'll take that as well. Any of them would work, whatever you've got the most points in at that point.
You said heal, profession healer, or a doctor?
Yep.
Well, I got an 11 in heal, so
Okay.
I'm not rough with that. Well, I have a plus 11.
Plus 11. Okay, I was like, wow,
yeah,
all right.
not an 11 total.
Yeah, sorry. That is a 29 heal check.
Let's go.
29. You are able to tell this person's definitely physically probably. It's hard to tell, but you'd guesstimate somewhere in their 40s to 50s as far as physicality, meaning they're a bit older, whoever they were. What you're able to gather is that this individual is also not been dead for 3 months. They've been dead for at least a year, maybe 2. That's as you kind of look about and smell like a real good smell of the corpse. There's some. That's what you realize is off. There's the scent of it's definitely older. That's the only thing that seems to not be able to hide it. This corpse has been messed with to make it look more recent, fresher. But they didn't seem to hide the smell in any way, as you can kind of catch the pungent sense of the rotting of the innards inside, as well as certain scents that would very clearly show that this corpse has been around for a while.
Why would you go out of the way to make an old corpse seem newer? It just doesn't make any sense.
Because she knew I'd probably be here. And Dom's kind of... I assume you relayed this info, by the way. Sorry, operating on assumptions.
Yeah, what do you mean by knew you'd be here?
You see Dom for the first time, I'd say. He's got a look, that he's not trying to hide, and it looks sad and tired, and there's almost like a bit of an expectant, like he anticipated this, but there's a definitely this is not what he wanted to hear, and I'll say he hands bloodied from searching this corpse, I imagine, kind of kneels down to take its hand, and presses it to his forehead. I come from these lands, and I have reason to believe this was my father, and that he suffered worse of a fate than I thought he did when he first died. Father, I'm sorry I was not here for you. And he'll say that last part in Giant, just for context. I don't know if Eider speaks that.
I do.
As
Cool.
you say that, you hear in Giant from Lagrosora, he lets slip out a light comment and says, living destroys nature's gifts in Giants, as he seems to do a strange sigil about his body.
Can I do a knowledge religion? Because that sure as fuck seems weird.
Sure.
Yeah, I'd actually like to do that too.
Yeah.
That seems off.
A little bit.
29.
29? Oh no.
Dirty 20.
As you two kind of think for a moment, Kez, you've heard stories about gods older than any other, supposedly that have just roamed the planet since its creation. Though these are blasphemy by most beliefs, and by your own, in fact, it's still something you've had to take into consideration of understanding the other churches and their beliefs. Gods that these beliefs came from that followed the natural order. Some that were more corrupt, some that were kinder. As you come to mind, that sounds as if this individual seems to serve more of a Mother Nature-like mentality than anything. Though the words don't immediately click to you. You're unsure who they belong to, but you're definitely sure, no matter what, they're not El Ugbo's words. By any means.
Law and nature. Circle of life type of stuff, right?
Yeah. Either. With a 29... You've heard or you've read these words before. It was listed under a supposedly a holy order that had popped up and been snuffed out quite quickly amongst the amongst the Snowbeard territories. It was a common term for the holy order, the Brotherhood of Grim Harvest, to declare before they would run in and basically wipe out entire cities. Their whole MO was killing everyone and returning them to the nature itself as is the rightful place. Basically, they're a death cult that likes to make everyone else die first.
Oh, Death Cult is in actively dying.
Oh yeah, like they go around killing people and then also tormenting themselves, from what you've been able to gather. However, their god, you're not sure to, as their god is very shrouded in mystery, and every depiction seems to be morphed and very chaotic and different depending on where you, depending on the depictions and where the battlefields were, from what you know.
This gives me like straight up like evil Ilmater vibes.
I think is no one registered that this is a phrase they used before they charge it and kill a bunch of people?
Oh no, trust me, we were getting there.
It? Yeah.
Oh yeah.
No, I
Okay,
didn't.
cool.
That didn't like slip me notice.
John's busy going through whatever emotional grief he's processing, so I'm for once not the one who's on top of shit. So
I will also notice a note, Ida, with that rule to it. The other interesting thing is most of that holy order for their weapons, they preferred gnarled wooden or metal staffs that jingle with metal chips in them, and usually have unholy enchantments along the side of them.
Did you say unholy?
Yeah, unholy. Yeah, you heard me correctly.
I look at like this guy's staff and like immediately make a move to like distance him from it. He fucking says this shit out loud.
Disarm.
He's kind of standing to your right and just kind of as you with his staff off to the side, away from each of you. I will note specifically as he seems to have kind of put himself almost between you and the his staff, as well as the stairs up to go upstairs into the steeple, not the stairs to go back out the way you came in, for reference. But if you're gonna try and reach for his staff, yeah, go ahead and give me a reflex check. It'll be yours versus his, and he will be at a disadvantage because he does not know. So that will.
And I look at him, and he looks at me, and I look at him.
Oh, this guy is so dead. If he fucked with my father's corpse, this
as you go to grab it, you feel his hand kind of touch yours as you take hold of his staff, and he goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, young man. This is recognized by Ella Ugbo as one of her holy items. I do ask that you not touch any priest's personal items." As he kind of looks at you and like seems to stare at you. He isn't casting, but his hand is grasped around your hand while your hand touches his staff.
I just like look at him levelly, and
I look at Ader and I give him a nod.
For shits and giggles, I like recite one of the prayers back to him from his fucking cult.
You see his lips seem to part in a smile, his teeth seem to glimmer in an unnatural light, and a light red goo starts to come from his eyes, as we will end session there. Thank you all for watching, we hope you enjoyed, and next time we'll pick up with Sprungus and Frungus having a run to save you lot, probably. Or
I'm killing this man dead.
Or we're about to watch this church get leveled. We thank you all, and we hope you see you then.
Oh.